But welcome,
Okay, cool.
welcome to Horrible Horror, everybody. The podcast where we you're listening. We watch the worst of the worst horror movies so bad they're scary. Today is a very special episode. We'll call it a bonus episode, if you will. We are here with actress, entrepreneur, if you will, talented, beautiful scream queen, Julin is joining us for a very special interview today. We are super excited about this. We're a big fan of hers and some of her movies she's been in. So for her to take time out of her day to sit down and do this with us is awesome. We're super excited. I know I'm going to say a lot during this interview.
Thank you, Julin.
Yeah, Aaron's
You're
here,
welcome.
and there's Julin. Everybody, so there she is.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me.
We are recording this on video, so I got to try to remember that, so I'm not doing stupid stuff with my hands all the time. So you should be able to watch this on YouTube eventually as well. If you don't,
we have
to
faces for podcasts. We don't have faces.
Yeah, we are definitely an audio formatted people, but. Anyway, I'm super excited. Let's just jump into this. We kind of we sent you a list of the questions ahead of time, so you kind of know where we're going with this, and we'll come with stuff on the fly as we go along. But we'll start off the basic general stuff, so people kind of get to know you who aren't familiar with you or have seen the movies that we've done on the show. I guess we'll get that out. Let's get that right. The movies we have featured on the show that Julin has starred in or been in started way back in episode number 4 with Sweatshop. Was the very our first introduction to Julin. And then I'm not going to get all the episodes right. I just remember that one. But then we started again on Spirit Camp. And then we saw for a third time on Knucklebones, which we'll probably talk about that more later. But I'll say it right now. Knucklebones turned out to be one of our all-time favorite movies that we feature on the show. And actually came in like our top 5, was it top 4 or 5 for the year, for that year of movies we did?
Top 4, yeah.
Top 4. It did not make it into our Horrible Horror March Madness Tournament of Awfulness. It actually was too good to be in that, so we decided to make a top 5 list, and it came in at like number 3 or 4 of that year. So we're big fans of that. So
that's awesome.
Yes, absolutely love that movie, and we're going to talk more about that. So, but first of all, let's just get started with like the basic stuff. You're an actor, you got into acting. So, but how old were you when you first got the the acting bug, or you said, hey, this is what I want to pursue as a career, and what eventually led you to actually try to pursue, or well, actually you were successful, but what led you down that road?
Okay, well, I'll jump around a little bit. So when I was a senior in high school, when I was a junior in high school, I went to a different high school, and we had like 8 credits, and I was a tennis player. I was #1 varsity tennis player all 4 years of high school. So I moved to a better high school to kind of to play like better tennis, but I moved back to my old high school just for the last year, so I could be with my friends and graduate with them and etc. So I had an extra elective because I went to the school that had 8 classes, and my other school had 6 like credits or courses. So I was able to go to theater, which I've always wanted to try. So because when I was like 5 years old, I was in dance. I am the baby of my family, so I love being entertaining. I love making jokes, dancing, singing. Like I love singing like Mariah Carey. So, and then when I was 8, I would take my dad's VHS camera and start making little shows with my dolls, like editing in camera, making a little show. And then when I got older, I would, go with my friends. Like I remember I was doing like a travel video in our backyard. I was in Paris.
Right.
So I had always I always loved movies, music, dance. I wasn't that good at dancing, but so finally, senior in high school, I have an extra elective. So I took theater. And right away, I was like #1 student in my theater class. I just had like a blast. And my theater teacher told me, I think his name is Mr. Poland, but he said, you should get an acting agent in Houston. And I'm like, what is that? And so he took us on like a field trip to meet the acting agent. And I remember I was like so excited. I bought a new outfit. I had like a red shirt, white pants. and heels and everything. And like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be an acting agent. Like, I'm gonna meet this person. And it was called Actors, Etc. And she told me right away, she's like, never wear red, never wear white. And I was like, you know, and I had gotten headshots taken like at the mall. And this is not where you go get headshots, but I had no idea how to put your name on the bottom of a headshot. So I printed my name, cut it out, took the photo, did a photo scan copy, and then that copy had my name. You know, I had no idea how they did it, but that was my headshot.
I mean, that sounds like your style, though. You're making guerrilla films in your backyard. You're going like, hey, I'm going to make this work no matter what. So, yeah.
I hope, did you go to glamour shots for your headshot? Was that still a thing when you were in high school? I don't know, maybe I'm dating myself too much, but God, that would have been hilarious if you went to glamour shots for your headshot.
It was like a glamour shot, but like glamour shot was like way out of my budget, you know? So I had to go with like the guy that did photos of the babies.
Okay.
You know, he did my photos. So it was like so bad. I do probably have a copy somewhere, but it was so bad. So my agent said like, you need to get your professional headshots, and they're like $400. I was like, okay. And then she's like, you have to go to these classes because, you know, you have no idea about auditions and everything. So I was like, okay. So I like right at 18, sorry, I started going to classes, and I got an agent, and I got headshots, and these were like black and white headshots back in the day.
Right.
And
Nice.
I never got a job like for 2 years.
Hey, it it takes time to ripen on the vine.
That's the grind, though, right?
Yeah.
That's the grind.
Yeah. So you made it into acting. So I'm just kind of curious, when did you change your name to Julin?
Yeah, that was my next
one
question.
name. Yeah.
You went the Madonna route and did the Julin thing. And I really hope that was in high school. And before you even got into acting, you were just like, you know what? This is my thing. This is going to be my thing in high school. I'm just Julin now. Because you were born Jennifer Jean. I'm probably going to butcher the last name, but is it Gulin?
Could be Julin.
It could be Julin, too.
Gulin.
Gulin.
It's
Okay.
a Swedish last name.
Cool.
But when my grandparents came from Sweden, they spelled it wrong as well. So I'm the only, well, we say Gullen now. So you could say Gullen. We're the only like Gullens. If there's nobody else with my last name unless they're related to me or married to somebody related. So it's kind of cool. So I got into acting, right? So
Right.
I'm 18, I'm in acting. It was not in high school. I only played tennis, like in high school, like that's all I did pretty much. So, but I was modeling too, because this girl, she told me, she's like, you know, I made $13 an hour for handing out gum. I was like, what? You mean, you know, this was like a lot of money at the time. I was like, $13 an hour for handing out gum? Like for Big Red or whatever. I was like, I want to do that. She's like, oh, you totally can. I'll introduce you to the modeling agent and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. So I had like, it was like promotional modeling. So I had a modeling agent, and people would hire you for their company to help them like network or talk at conventions. And you work at like a booth, you know, you're like a booth babe or something.
Right.
And so I had a meeting with this guy at a Starbucks, and it was for his company, whatever it was. And we were just talking, and he's like, yeah, I'm in a band. I was like, oh, you're in a band. That's so cool, you know? I was like, I always wanted to sing. Like I was singing Mariah Carey, like from when I was 8. You know, I would love to like sing in a band. You know, he's like, well, you know, let me hear you sing. I was like, all right. I just sang right there in the Starbucks. And he's like, well, you know, we're looking for another singer for our band. I was like, oh my God, me, you know, I want to audition. And I wasn't right for their band, but from them, I met a producer. His name's Ken. And we made an album together. And he's like, okay, so what are we going to call the album, you know, like, and everything. And I was like, I don't know, you know, and he's like, let's come up with like a nickname and stuff. And I was like, okay. And it was like a bunch of terrible nicknames. And then he's like, what about Julin? That's like taking some from your first name and then from your last name. And I was like, okay, that sounds awesome. I'll be Julin.
Do you remember any of the awful names?
It was something like Ivory Keys or something. Like we're trying to do like Alicia Keys.
That makes the name Keenan Iron Waynes.
Yeah, like it was like something like that. I was like, oh, this is not working. This just doesn't feel right. But okay, so then I had told you it took me a couple years for acting, right? So I'm in the band. I made them songs. Then I start getting all these acting jobs. Like they're like, I got spirit camp and stuff. So I was like I was in a band and then doing the acting. And so I was like, well, crap, I don't want to like be changing my name again,
Right.
So I was like, I'll just go by Julin. And then more acting jobs came, and I was like, well, I don't want to be the one name person. So I used my middle name. So I said, it could be Julin Jean.
Right.
But I feel like I could have just rocked the one name.
You need to just rock the one name. It makes you stand out unique, like Julin. Like like
that's it.
That's it.
You need to rock the one name.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. I feel like I should go back. Like I was happy that on my IMDb it just says Julin because that was like my first. Like, that's it. But it's Julin Jean, and then some people call me Julin Genie. I'm like whatever, because like. My email, I'm so bad with emails and stuff, so I forgot my email, julinjean@gmail. I can't log in. I hate it, so frustrating. So then I made it julingenie@gmail, and then they're like, oh, your name's Julin Genie. I'm like, whatever you want to call me, it's fine.
Well, you mentioned IMDb, so and that's really, I was actually leading into my next question because you were talking about how you're getting into acting, and according to IMDb, your first acting credit is sexual harassment. Workplace issues. So please tell me, is that one of those like horrible like HR training videos companies make you watch, and you were just like some like officer like, oh no, you touched my behind or something like that? Was it one of those most terrible videos?
Yes, it was.
That makes me so happy for some reason. I don't know why.
and I got paid. So
well, there you go.
Professional,
Hey, there you go.
And we used my mom's office as a location. And I wasn't the one, nobody touched my bum or whatever, but I was the sexual harasser.
Oh, you flipped the script. So you're like, it goes both ways.
To a woman.
Oh.
I said, okay, sweetie, honey, that's sexual harassment if a woman calls another woman sweetie and honey. It's sexual harassment. It's against the law. So yeah,
it's a bit of a stretch, I feel. But
yeah,
okay.
but whatever. Please. But no, I saw that I don't know why that made me so happy that's even that, and the fact that that's even listed on IMDb kind of cracks me up too. Like, who's gonna see that?
Oh, I have another story with that one. So that was my first kind of introduction to the Houston acting world. And I met this girl, Ashley, who I harassed. And she was actually my makeup artist and stuff for Sweatshop.
Oh, because we're going to talk about that, because that's one thing I wanted to talk about when we get to Sweatshop. So that's cool that you actually met her. I mean, that's kind of serendipitous right there, if you will. Like you met her that early, and then you would go on later.
Well, yeah, it's a very small community too. But yeah, I would love to talk about Sweatshop and my audition process too.
Yes, we are coming to those. But let's dip our toes into the horror movie then. So growing up, what was the first horror movie that you ever saw? Like, do you remember having your first experience with a horror movie as a kid or whenever it was?
Yeah, what's one of your first earliest memories of a horror movie?
Watching Chucky with my cousin. I went to my cousin's house and we're having like a slumber party, and he's a crazy kid or whatever, and he's like, let's watch a scary movie, and I'm like, what? And his mom made us like peanut butter chocolate balls. Like you take peanut butter and then you dip chocolate, you put in the freezer, and like we were like eating snacks and like watching Chucky. And I was like, this is, I mean, it was fun, but it was scary, you know?
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite horror movie?
See, I like psychological thrillers. Those are my favorite. I don't know if that totally counts, but
Absolutely. I think so. It can.
I love American Psycho, The Hole with Christina Ricci, I think. No, Thora Birch. The Hole with Thora Birch. And see, I wrote some down, but it's like American Psycho.
That's a great movie. I mean, it is a great movie. I will say that.
I would definitely I could call American Psycho a horror movie, absolutely. And if you've read the book by Preston Ellis, that gets even darker.
Yeah, the book is a whole nother.
I haven't read the book, but I am going to now.
That's one of the only books that when I was reading, I'd read a chapter and be like, I need to stop. I'm really disturbed by what I just read. I can't read anymore. I need to put this down for a while. And like 2 days later, I'm like, okay, I'll pump myself back up. And then I read it. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
So then on the outside, then what's the worst horror movie you remember seeing? Do you have one of those that sticks out in your head? That
Leprechaun.
The original Leprechaun with Jennifer Aniston?
Yeah.
Right.
I thought that was so stupid, and that Leprechaun is so annoying, and he's ugly, and yeah. I just like hated him, and it wasn't fun for me to watch. It was like more annoying. Like Chucky's a little cute, he makes funny jokes, but like Leprechaun is just like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't blame it. Like we've done Leprechaun on the show. We did on obviously around St. Patrick's Day years ago, and I kind of remember mirroring the same thing you did. Like I just didn't. I think I called Baby's first horror movie is like Fisher Price horror. It just wasn't quite there in respects to that. But yeah, I kind of agree with you on the Leprechaun front.
We've obviously done a lot of Leprechaun movies
here.
A lot
of Leprechauns.
But we also have our guilty pleasure horror movies. I mean, it sounds like you kind of have a little bit of love for that movie, a little bit too, even though you kind of think it's stupid. But do you have one that's like a guilty pleasure horror movie?
I like Jaws.
Jaws. Well, that's a great one. I don't know if I call it.
Jaws is a classic. Yeah.
Yeah, guilty pleasure is like it's bad, but there's something about it you like it anyway, even though it's a bad movie. I mean, Jaws is considered a classic.
All of mine.
All right, I'll accept it. There you go. That works. You have a sense of humor about it, so that's awesome. Aaron, I think you want the next one.
Yeah. It was just we talked about the horror movies, and especially the ones that you love. Now, kind of going on that, you've been in a nice handful of horror movies. I mean, what was like your favorite? Like, which character that you like, and which was your favorite death scene? What death scene did you like the most? Because you've been killed a few times. So which way did you like getting killed the most?
Oh, okay. Well, the only thing that, let me see. Well, because sometimes when you have like a death scene, it's like very annoying. It's long hours and it like sucks. So the experience isn't that good. But when I did Spirit Camp, and I know it's probably like the lamest death scene, but it was so funny. We had so much fun on set that's why I remember it and I like it the most, because I get stabbed and I was like, wait, like how do I die? Like I've never died before. And this is my first acting job. And they're like, well, yeah, like you would, you have to act. I'm like, how do you act like you're dying? Like I just couldn't do it. And so I'm like, oh. And it was just like a running joke of like the whole like after the film came out, like, oh, Rachel dies. Oh, like so I have the best memory of that one.
So it kind of sounds like oh, go ahead. Sorry.
My worst death scene, and well, you guys didn't watch or review the movie or anything, but have you seen The Final?
I have. I think I've seen it a long time ago, and I started watching it for the interview, like last week to try to watch for this interview, but I never was able to finish it because, well, daddy duty. But no, I didn't get to your death scene in that one. But yeah, it's one.
That was like the worst death scene, because they had like a gag in my mouth, and it was very bad production, I will just say that, because I do producing now, and number one thing is safety. I couldn't breathe, literally couldn't breathe. So they had a code word. They say, we have a code word, if something happens or a signal or whatever. I was like, thank God they have that. But I had a gag in my mouth, so I couldn't hardly breathe. And then she put shaving cream on my nose. So I couldn't breathe, like literally couldn't breathe. And I got like tapped out or whatever. But I was like, you guys are idiots. Like idiots, like,
so while shooting your death scene, they almost kill you.
Yes. So like that was the worst death scene and experience too.
That sounds familiar. We interviewed Glenn Ennis. He did the stunts. He was one of the Jason Voorhees in Freddy vs. Jason. And there was a scene where he got thrown into a lake, but the water got pushed up into his mask and he couldn't breathe and he was freaking out and everyone's like, just calm down. But he couldn't communicate. He was literally drowning at the time.
Yeah. People need to think about that stuff.
So so you kind of answered the next question, because it was going to be, what was your favorite horror movie to film? Well, sort of. What's been your favorite horror movie to film, or that had the best on-set experience, like bonding with or befriending cast members? And then the worst experience, I guess you might have said, may have been the final, unless there was something worse.
Sounds like
no, I have more answers for these questions. So, well, I have to say, Spirit Camp and Knucklebones were like such a good on-set experience. But I'll just go with Spirit Camp for this question. So remember I told you guys, like, I like to carry around the video camera and make sketches and everything.
Right.
So we did that as Spirit Camp as our characters. So I have all the sketches that we did, like from back in the day, and I was like, maybe I should release them on YouTube or something. You
definitely need to release those. I would love to watch that.
We had just such a blast. We were so high energy, like actresses, just starting out, like, oh, we're gonna make this awesome film. We had just such a great time. And the funny thing is, the director Carrie, he was like, oh, it's an 80s slasher flick. So I was like, okay, 80s, like we're in the 80s, right? So I like had my hair like 80s style. I had socks that were 80s style. He's like, no, it's present day. It's just 80s genre. I was like, what? Like, I just had no idea what he was talking about. I like literally came from just like playing tennis. Like I was #1 tennis player in Texas for a while. So I was on the tennis court like 4 to 6 hours a day at a time. So I was not in the entertainment world, scary movie world at all.
Yeah, the horror world is very, they have many subtle niches within it as well, So if you talk to a horror fan, you say, oh, 80s slasher style, they'll know exactly what you're talking about. But really, you have to be involved in that community for a while before you get to know the lingo and pick it up. So if you're coming off the tennis court and they're like, oh, it's 80s slasher style, you're like, 80s, got it, big hair, pom socks.
I was like, hoop earrings, I was like, oh, 80s.
Leg warmers on you, a lot of neon. There you go.
Exactly. So we filmed it at a Lake Houston, and so we got to have like our own cabin. So it was like we were camping. So it was like, and we had like awesome catering. It was like such a really fun experience. And I met, there's just all girls in the cast pretty much. So we like all became super close, and it was, cool. and we stayed up late. We did s'mores and like scary stories, like the future readings. Like, what is it called when you tell somebody's future? Or
tarot cards, like a tarot card.
Yeah.
Palm reading.
Yeah.
Palm reading. Yeah.
Yeah. So some girl was like doing all of that and stuff, and it was hilarious. And then the worst one was Boggy Creek, and I know y'all had a question about that one too.
Yeah.
So basically, when I got cast in Boggy Creek, and this is still like a longer story. So me and Denise had this running gag of like how many things can we be in together? We want to make like a drinking game out of this, right? So like
You're getting pretty good at that.
Anything I was in, I wanted her to be in, you know, anything she was in, like I was in, you know, we just really went for this. And so we both got in Boggy Creek, and her role was better than mine. I had like, they're like, oh, okay, you're going to play a Kay, this guy's wife. I was like, okay, that sounds whatever. Like, I don't even know if I read for the part. They just like asked me to do it. I was like, okay. And then I was like, so what with the wardrobe and stuff? And my agent goes, oh, they'll tell you when you get there. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I guess they have wardrobe there because all the films I had, they have wardrobe for everybody. And so I get there and they're like, you're not going to wear a wardrobe. And I was like, excuse me? You know, I don't do nudity or anything. What? Oh, you don't? You know, they're trying to like be skeezy about it. The director had done like porn before, and now he would do scary movies. And I was like, dude, like, I don't do that. So like, what are you talking about? Like, I guess I'll do implied, you know, like, so I wore like a nude colored coverings, you know, but I thought that was just terrible how they're like, they should have had a conversation with me before.
Yeah.
And if me and Denise didn't have this running gag, I would have pulled out. But I was like, damn it, you know, we have this gag. I was like, and I drove 8 hours or something to be there.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, they didn't tell me until I got there.
Yeah,
know?
that's a theme we've heard before in some of our past interviews, and that's really unfortunate. I hope that, you know, the current era, you know, I mean, it seems like a lot of people are becoming more attuned to, you know, I mean, kind of like the Me Too thing as an example of just, you got to tell people up front what they're doing. You can't just slip in, hey, by the way, you're going to show your boobs. You know, that's not cool. So
is that okay with you? Like,
right.
Like, no, it's not actually. Like, you know, this is a different thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it, tell them up front, you know, why are you doing this, you know, cloak and dagger BS? That's just so sleazy.
Yeah,
it is. And that's exactly how I felt. And that's just like why I just don't associate a lot of people like I'm friends with, directors friends with, but this I'm like, nope, no thank you. So
Right.
Well, that actually pretty much covered all my questions I had for Bogey Creek later. Like the fact that they, you know, how they pitching you to be, you're going to be naked. You like, they didn't even tell you.
Creek.
Boggy Creek, yeah. Whatever. So they didn't even tell you, and that's crazy.
It is, and it's like they tried to get like the wardrobe girl to like coach you into this. Like if I hadn't been such a strong person, athlete, whatever, like I maybe could have been convinced or something, but I feel like it's very important for women to have strong opinions and be, you know, just strong in who they are and say like, no, bro, not okay.
Right.
You know?
That's a great answer. And we're going to touch on that some more later because I definitely want to get your opinion some more on that subject. But just talking about, like you said in Boggy Creek, you didn't really, you just kind of pitched you and they said you want to do it or something. But what's been your process like for a process? But what's the auditioning process like especially on the indie scene? Like, are you often, how much of it are you auditioning? And like you said, or is it people just come to you and say, hey, do you want to do this?
Well, it varies. So when I first started, the audition for indie film versus a bigger budget film, you go straight to the director, like for the first audition. For the bigger budget, you go straight to the casting director. So you get to meet the director right away. Like with Sweatshop, he actually came to my agency. And you know, I was still very new at that time. So he came to my agency and he asked me to, it was a better agent, just saying, than the one that told me the red didn't work. I had already upgraded to the best agent in Texas. So I already upgraded at that point. So he went to the best agent, you know, and I was like, that's cool. And he's doing a film. And I was like, well, that's cool. And he asked me to prepare a monologue for the audition. So I was like, okay. And you guys already know I like American Psycho. So I did that movie. I think is it called, it's with Ellen Page, and she like cuts off this dude's like balls, hard candy.
Yeah, I'd say it's
something.
candy, hard candy or candy, something like that. Yeah.
Candy.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
So I do that monologue, and I think I like juggle the balls or something. And he
Nice
loved
choice.
it. But I had not read Sweatshop's script. I had no idea what it was about. I had no idea who he was. But I was just like, I just want to play like this crazy psycho girl kind of character. And I thought the monologue was really cool. So I did it, and he loved it. And he casted me that way. With Spirit Camp, we went to Carrie Byers' loft. He was a very well-known headshot photographer in town. He did all the beauty queens and all the actors and everything. So he had like a good reputation. Again, he called my agent, and so we had like a sign-in process. And this is when like I literally could not get any acting jobs. I was like, I just like suck as an actress. You know, like I have no idea what I'm doing and whatever. So I really had to think, and like I was like, okay, what can I do to like get the part? You know, I really want just one freaking role. And so I literally ninja kicked into the audition. Literally, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just do a ninja kick. That's how I'll start the audition. And I got,
that's for sure. That's
I
great.
got the part. I was like, yes. But we had callbacks and everything. And then we had casting readings with the other girls, and he would put us together. So that was cool. But
Nice.
just the difference is you go straight to the director versus going through like sending in a tape and then a casting director, and then you meet the director.
I'm always kind of fascinated by the casting process of movies, whether big or small, just because my background is in theater too. I was a more technical theater with an emphasis in directing myself. So I did a lot of stage plays, a lot of directing for that. And honestly, some of my favorite parts of the process was the casting process. I just loved seeing everybody come up and reading and pairing them together and doing all that. So I just, for some reason, I'm always really intrigued by the casting process for everything out there. So did you start ninja kicking in every audition now? Do you just ninja kick your way through things because it worked for you the first time?
Well, after it worked for that one.
Yeah, you don't want to wear it out, Marshall. You don't want to.
Well, I mean, I get that, but you never know. Sometimes, like, if it works, you know, why don't until it doesn't. You might as well keep doing it until it doesn't work.
I would love if Julin got offered a role as like a sweet motherly type, and all of a sudden she's like ninja kick, yeah.
Like I said, it draws attention. It makes them remember you. You know, of all the people that, you know, seeing hundreds of people, depending on how big show is, that makes it stick out in your mind. Any little edge helps, and it worked. Yeah, obviously it worked for Spirit Camp. So that's awesome.
Well, I'll tell you, I do have an audition trick that I learned. I don't know if you know the famous actor Robert Mitchum, but I took classes from his son Bentley Mitchum, and I think he made a terrible scary film as well. But so he taught me, you go in and you look the person right in the eyes, and you think the craziest thought that you can with that person, and that kind of captures them into your aura, you know, and you shake their hand a certain way, you walk out the door a certain way, and you have to be just very confident. So I went and I auditioned for that movie with Chris Evans. It's called Puncture.
Yes.
And I was like at the top of my game or whatever at that time. So I was like totally confident. I was late. I didn't have a headshot. I didn't give a shit. And cause like, I'm a busy girl. Okay. I'm sorry. Like
I'm Julin, bitch.
I'm in a band. I'm handing out gum. Like I've been in movies now. So I go in there and I audition with my girlfriend from Spirit Camp. But we both start on the same line. Like she starts on my line.
Oh.
I have no idea what the fuck to say. So I do the worst audition ever. And they said, you know, we cast you because you had the worst audition. And we just felt so bad for you. I was like, thank you. I was like, mic drop.
Mic drop.
Like, that's how, even when I do the worst auditions.
Pity casting. All right. Take it.
So that confidence, that confidence took you there still.
There you go.
But I'm kind of curious. You said you were a tennis star, playing tennis in Texas, which is a giant state with it's a state known for having amazing athletes. And you said you were on the top of the tennis world in high school at the time. Did you take some of that confidence that you had from tennis, and I'm sure you have to perform in front of, hundreds, if not thousands of spectators at times, and bring that with you into like casting situations?
I brought more of the competitiveness. So because I'm competitive, so I want to win, I want to be the best, I want to, like, you know what I mean? Just like be the best I can, especially at auditions, like those are super competitive. So that's what I would bring, I would take the best classes, I would take all the workshops, like, I would just try to get the best skill that I can to do this. And it took me a long time to learn how to act. I did not have a natural talent for it. So like, I feel like now when I could act, then I kind of started screenwriting. But but definitely sports help with competition edge. So if kids are girls, I would recommend get them into sports. Tennis is great because you learn how to be independent, and it's just awesome. So it definitely builds confidence, and you feel strong, like in your body,
I definitely took that. That's like what you just said about getting girls into sports and the doing conference. I mean, that's one thing I've done with my daughter. She's only 3 now, but getting her started, like I got her into dance and she's doing gymnastics as well now. So to kind of help build that up, that strong, independent mentality, because as well. So I think that's a great message to send out there.
Yeah.
Now, of all the horror movies that you've been in, and granted, we haven't seen all of them ourselves yet, but so don't think it's limited just the ones we've seen. But of all the ones you've been in, which one would you like to most see get a sequel?
Well, people love like Cherry Bomb, and people all over the world love Cherry Bomb. I had people message me from Brazil. It went to Germany, and it even went to Asian market, and they totally replaced me on the cover because I was like too sexy, I guess. So I would love to do Cherry Bomb again. Plus, I feel like I could, I don't know, be some kind of more of a spicy character. But a little bit of news, Knucklebones is having a sequel. I just talked to the director yesterday.
Oh, that's nice. Yes. I'm sorry. But, we've talked many times, like that's one we've even said, like, we want to see a Knucklebones too. And you just made my day. You made my week.
Yeah. He said I would be in it and I could be like funnier, because when I started acting, I wanted to do comedy. That's why I ninja kicked into Spirit Film. And I played such a wacko personality because I love like comedy and acting. So he said you're going to be in it and you could do more of a comedy role and stuff. So yeah, I would love both. I was thinking, I was like, why don't I just like do Cherry Bomb 2 or something?
There you go. God, Knucklebones 2. I'm so excited about that. I'm gleaming over here.
All right.
But
calm down, big guy.
I know I'm trying, but that just, all right. So, but speaking of acting and comedy, and you've mentioned earlier that you are doing you've even done some script writing and that you're producing now. So you've branched out from the acting, and like I said, you've gone into directing, writing, producing. Apparently, you've even done a little bit of editing, composing yourself. So you're a woman of many hats. But of all those hats, is acting still kind of your favorite, or do you have a new favorite now that you're kind of moving away from acting into something else?
Well, I always was a writer. So when I was younger, I would write in journals. And then when I was 15, I started writing poetry. And whenever I do something, I really love to study it and study it and do it well. So I would study poetry, how to write like Shakespeare or all the other like great poets, and just how to structure everything. And then I did acting, and I did songwriting and singing. I don't know if you know, but Disney bought one of my songs, which is so awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Did you write
Frozen.
"Let It Go" for Frozen? Is that you? Is that your work?
Let it go.
Because my daughter's obsessed with
Go.
Frozen right now.
My goal is to write a Disney princess movie musical. That is a future goal. But I wrote a song. It's in Pretty Little Liars, season 2, episode 6.
I didn't
And
realize
it's
that was a
called-
Disney show.
Yeah, Freeform. Disney owns Freeform.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So I love writing. Writing would be my favorite. And so when I started getting into screenwriting, again, it was a long process. I wrote my first script. It took me 2 years to write it. And I wrote it based on a story that I heard about my friend. She's from Colombia. She came to the US and she won the world's salsa dancing competition after training for only a year. So I wrote a movie about that, and I teamed up with Chris Haughty. He's the guy that wrote Never Back Down 1 and 2. I don't know if you ever saw that one, and Homeward Bound. And he was like my screenwriting mentor, and he helped me just understand the business of screenwriting and also how to write smart scripts. And then I took what he taught me, and then I just study,
Right.
research. And so I love writing, because then you can just chill in your pajamas, you can write. But I do love, I love producing. I still love directing. I love running my company. But I guess favorite would be writing.
Okay.
Nice.
So above the acting, you've played the kind of like the snobby bitch girl, Rachel in summer camp or spirit camp. Sorry. You played the good girl, kind of girl next door ish in Knucklebones. And then you played like a crazy party goth girl. Honestly, I don't even know how to describe your role as Mako in a Sweatshop. That's just a whole.
It's Miko.
Oh, is it Miko? I'm sorry. I thought it was Kim's name, Mako. It's Miko. Okay. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. But of those the character archetypes, which has been your favorite to play of the ones you've done? And is there still like that kind of character archetype you haven't had a chance to play yet that you would like to in the future?
Well, so it's like weird because I've always disliked cheerleaders. I thought they were so whatever, but I still wanted to be a cheerleader because I told you I like entertaining, you know. I was like, so it's like I love hate cheerleaders. So I was like, that was super fun to actually play a cheerleader, get to play her like a idiot kind of person.
Right.
So that was fun, but not the most like exciting role. I would love to play like a UFC or a boxer type champ. That would be like my favorite role, kind of like a kick-ass kind of role.
The badass bitch.
Yeah, and mix that in with a little American Psycho, maybe. So like a crazy, you know,
a crazy badass,
crazy,
right.
Like just UFC kind of fighter. And then I could train. You know, they train you, and I'll get in really good shape.
There you go.
So,
yeah.
But that would be cool.
Awesome.
I love doing stunts. So there's a funny story. I don't know if you know David McLean. He's the original inventor of Women of Wrestling, Glow and stuff.
Yes, Glow. We're big wrestling fans, and so yes, I'm very familiar with Glow.
Okay, so there was a casting call one time for they said stunts. You would be an actress, and then you would get stunt training and all this stuff, and you could go to Hollywood. And so I took all my roles, like bitchy, snobby Rachel, and I was I shot Aliens, and then Cherry Bomb, I was a stripper or whatever. So I had this audition, and I sent it to them because I thought it was for stunts, and I was like, I've been a high school bitch. I've shot aliens. I've even worked the strip pole, whatever. And then I was like, but I need to be in Hollywood. And I sent it to him, and he loved it. And he was like, yes, I want you on the show. He's like, it's Women of Wrestling. I was like, wait, what? I was like, what? I thought it was for stunts. So I was like, this is again, I'm fooled, you know, like you think it's one thing, but then it turns out to be another. And then the show got delayed 2 years. And then at that time I was already doing other stuff. So I didn't actually go be a wrestler, but I thought it was really cool that he asked me to. But I've always been interested in stunts. And then with Cherry Bomb, I have to send you guys a copy, but I got to do a lot of stunts and stuff. So that was fun.
Yeah,
Nice.
I appreciate that, because I tried looking for Cherry Bomb, but I couldn't find it available anywhere to watch that. So speaking of the characters, like the ones you've played though, so what's the ones that you kind of like most relate to you as a person? Like which one of the characters you play is the most closest to the real Julin as a person?
See, I was thinking about this and I was like, you know, I was like, I would say like, because none of them are athletes, none of them are smart,
Well, cheerleading's an athlete. Come on, Rachel the cheerleader. Cheerleading can be considered an athletic, you know.
So yeah, so that's what I came up with. I was like, you know what? I have such a big personality. I think Rachel would be mostly towards me because I love being entertaining, the center of attention, just kind of goofy. So I think that one would be the closest to me. And also that was the one that was like one of my first roles, so I really probably didn't know how to act too much, so I probably would have used a lot of my personality to do that. And I feel like I did do some like ninja moves, like going through the forest, you know. I was like, what the heck is wrong with that? Like way overacting. But I had a blast.
Nice. Yeah, and I know that's that's pretty fun. But something else that's pretty fun is the you know, horror movies. We love them, but there's always the big three, right? The big three is your Friday 13th, Halloween, and Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are, you know, the classic ones. You got Jason Voorhees, you got Michael Myers, you got Freddy Krueger. Halloween is still in production, still going. I mean, they're still making Halloween movies. Friday 13th is caught up in legal limbo, but it's gonna, you know, people are chomping at the bit for more. And from what I understand, Nightmare on Elm Street's probably going to get rebooted at some point. But with that said, they're some of the three staples of horror, right? I'm just kind of curious, just as a fun little question, which one would you like to be cast in, and who would you like to be killed by? Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, or Michael Myers?
I am a Freddy Krueger fan. That is my jam. I love Freddy Krueger. That was like, I love that movie growing up. So I would love to be, I don't know, you know, maybe some kind of like, I don't know, flimsy girl on the phone or something, and just like, oh, she gets a knock at the door and it's like nobody's there, and then like it's like, oh, okay, I'll just go back to like whatever, and then have him like, you know, come in the bedroom or the bathroom or something. Like,
yeah, his kills are always so much fun because he can play with the dream world, and he can like come in through the floor, come in through the drain, or you know, he's
coming through a telephone.
Ways.
She mentioned being on the phone. He's coming through a telephone in the very first. I mean, that's an iconic.
Yeah, maybe like I'm an executive. You know, I have like a job interview, like on the phone. It's very serious, and somebody keeps tapping at the window, and I'm like, "What the fuck, man?" You know, like, so sorry about that. Where were we? You know, and then like the phone gets he comes on. He's like, "You're not getting hired," or something.
Bitch. You gotta add the bitch. Everything Frey says, you gotta add bitch after. Apparently.
Bitch, yeah.
And then I'll just be like upset, you know, because I'm like, "What are you talking about? You owe me a raise," you know.
Like, I'll give you a raise, bitch. And then he'll, I don't know, do something. So no, that's cool. That's cool. I don't meet a whole lot of. I haven't met a whole lot of Friday 13th fans lately. It's been Nightmare on Elm Street. It's been very Friday 13th oriented. Yeah. It seems like very heavy, but so it's kind of refreshing to meet somebody who's more on the Friday 13th. God, I'm all Nightmare on Elm Street side. Freddy Krueger side. Thank you.
Yeah. My wife still loves Nightmare on Elm Street. That's her number one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can say because
maybe it's for the dreamers.
There you go, the Dreamers, yeah. And there's also a little more, I don't know, like I said, some comedy and lightness to it because there's more on the fantastical side of things with, you know, the dreams and the crazy kills that go on in there. So it's a little more,
Yeah, I
it
love that.
incorporates
I
that.
feel like they should do more of that stuff. Definitely.
Yeah, but it's going to be so hard because Robert Englund's so old now.
Yeah.
You know, the guy who played Freddy Krueger he can't.
He wears a mask.
Yeah, but he's
burn makeup,
70-something years old.
Granted, but again, with CGI and special effects, Freddy was never that physically active, really. It's not like, you know, he could still do it for the close-ups, you know, do the voice, the lines, the close-up of his face, and then, you know, stunt double or something. But
I'm with you. I'm with you there. But
I heard rumors that he said he wanted to do Freddy one more time. Who knows? Maybe it happened. I mean, they tried rebooting it a few years ago with the guy from Watchmen, Haley something, with Rorschach, and that was considered a bomb or a bust. But who knows?
I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it either too much. But moving on. So let's get a little more. Like you kind of touched on this briefly earlier. I wanted to come back to it where you're talking about women's roles in horror. So, as you know, women's roles in the horror genre, they kind of run the gauntlet. But they're all very stereotypical gauntlet. You know, you have the slutty, dumb girl to the nerdy, quiet, bookish girl to the girl next door. But then at the same time, the genre is very notorious and infamous for its nudity, especially female nudity and sex scenes in the genre as well. So, but as a woman, how do you feel about women's roles in horror movies? Even though a vast majority of the time, a woman is the last one standing who defeats and takes down the, you know, seemingly unstoppable psychopath, the killer. But then still, a lot of times they're. Do you consider them exploited at all, or do you view it as a form of empowerment? Or what's your take on the role of women in modern day horror right now?
Well, you talk about women's roles, but you have to talk about men's roles too, because men are always playing the monster role, the rapist role, the killer role too. So I feel like they're just super stretched. They're not realistic at all. I don't feel like they're empowering or in any way. I think it's just completely entertainment, just entertainment hands down. Let me see. I think it's just, as a screenwriter, this is what I was going to say. So as a screenwriter, I've heard that you want to make your character, whoever is going to get killed, very flawed. So you have a reason to kill that person. So usually with women, it would be like a sin that they commit or, something they do. I kind of look at it like they're like the village idiot kind of person. Either the village idiot can get killed or, the village idiot somehow pulls through and makes it towards the end. But it's not like you're mad at that person. Or, you want them to win. You don't want them to like get killed or anything. But, as far as the nudity and all this, I feel like, scary films are mostly written for men, what I've read. And they, it's just entertainment. So, because I've had friends that, they'll show their boobs or whatever in film and stuff. And I feel like if you want to do it, it's fine. In Europe, that nudity in film is more open. It's more like that. I feel like that's also why like I had to simmer down with the acting, because I am just not that person. But that doesn't mean there's something wrong with me or something wrong with anybody. It's just that's not who I am.
Right.
But
right.
I think it's just it's like it's entertainment, right? So you want it to be titillating, you want it to be exciting, So if somebody's gonna get killed because they're like being a dumb idiot, like taking their top off by the pool, like then there's a reason to kill them. As the writer, you have to make. You don't want to kill like a hero type person unless they're very flawed. So that's just what I've learned, like screenwriting and everything. So I hope maybe that answers your question a little bit. But as far as for empowering women, I really like Judith Ginsburg, who writes like things for Congress, like that kind of stuff is empowering. Or like Girls Trip, the super awesome comedians who are like edgy, those kind of roles are like very empowering. But for scary films and everything, I feel like it's just entertaining. And to me,
it hasn't quite reached that level yet, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like horror
even,
movies. Horror movies always seem to follow formulas, kind of what you were saying. You know, it's like you've got your bubble-headed co-ed type gal, and then you have your stoner guy, and then you have, you know, the girl next door, and then you have the jock, and it's,
yeah,
you know,
and it's those people are
repeat. Yeah.
they're flawed characters, so you're like, it's okay that, you know, that guy died or whatever. But how do you guys feel about the men always being portrayed as like the monster or serial killer guys? Like, how do you feel about that?
You know
I
what?
mean,
That's an interesting
for
question. You know,
me-
I've never really thought about that, and that's kind of you kind of throwing that, you know, kind of putting it back on us is actually very interesting. And it makes you actually really think, because I haven't thought about that. And I mean, I guess it makes sense because men are always, you know, if you want a horror movie, you want your killer to be large and imposing, and the men are normally naturally bigger and larger to make that more imposing. But I'm going to call back, really back to a movie we did around last Easter or something like that, or maybe not this year, but the previous Easter because pandemic and all that. But we did a movie called Bunny. And in that, the killer, it was a slasher, 80s throwback slasher, like, you know, just like a lot of them. But the killer was a woman in that one. And I remember, I actually really liked that change of pace, that it was unique. It was very different. And I mean, the movie was pretty terrible by most standards, but I did like the fact that they went differently, where the woman was the killer and she had a unique look, and it kind of flipped the normal stereotype genre upside down. But I don't really know how I feel, because I've never really thought about it before, and that's a very it's very interesting. And like, I wish I had a better answer right now, but it's like I want to go to, like, I feel like I need to go away and like ponder this and just think about this for a while, and then come back with a proper answer, because that's a very unique perspective to look at it from.
For me, I'm that's that I've also probably never really haven't thought about it as much, but I'm kind of piggybacking off of what Marshall said. You know, so often you see the men as the killer, and you know, in society, yes, there are more men serial killers. Yes, there are more men murderers. But that doesn't mean women don't do it as well, and they can be just as vicious and imposing and monstrous. And I'm glad you brought up the movie Bunny, because that is one where it's convincing. It is real that this woman is this killer.
Yeah.
We've watched other ones with women killers as well, but it's always like the big reveal. It was a woman. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whereas in Bunny, it was like, hey, this lady is out for blood. She's going to kill you. So it was but it was convincing. It was real. So I think we actually kind of liked that one a little bit better.
I mean, that's one reason why I liked it better, or at least I liked it. I mean, the movie overall is pretty terrible, but I loved that fact about it. And I enjoyed, and it made me enjoy the movie more than I probably should have or would have otherwise.
Yeah.
Well,
good question.
I think the way that you feel about the men always being like the serial killer monsters is the same way I feel about the women playing like the dumb ditzy roles. You don't think about it too much, or it doesn't really affect you, because it's a character. So it doesn't, like, women are not like that. So it doesn't resonate too much. It's like, okay, this is a part, this is a character. And then 2020, if you say woman, I mean, Caitlyn Jenner is a woman now. I do not associate with that. I don't associate with Caitlyn Jenner. So now I say I'm a female.
Mm-hmm.
I could say that, you know, I am a female. I have female parts and stuff, you know, but I can't say I'm a woman, because I do not care about painting my nails every day and wearing all the makeup and stuff. So I actually saw Caitlyn Jenner out. I was right next to her. Very big woman. But I don't think I am that woman, you know? So that's why I just say I am a female.
Former
female.
Olympic athlete.
Yeah. Olympic champion, by the way. Not
Olympic
just athlete,
gold
Olympic
medalist.
champion, gold medalist. But okay, let's move on now, like, because I want to kind of keep this roll. You were talking about, especially in your writing for characters and making your characters flawed. And that kind of makes me want to segue into some Sweatshop specific questions and no, let's just talk about Sweatshop for a bit. Before I go into the actual questions, one thing I remember saying, I know you said you didn't listen to the episodes, but one thing about Sweatshop that, and I went back and did watch it again. I was able to get it, and I bought it on Amazon. Just straight up bought it this time, and we talked about one. I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place right now. But you talked about the girl you met that did the makeup. Was it Ashley or something that did the makeup?
Ashley.
Okay. I will say that movie, that movie has going for it is incredible makeup and gore effects. The gore effects and makeup in that movie are tremendous for a low budget movie. Absolutely.
Good kills.
Absolutely just out of this world for that level. But on the other end, you're talking about writing flawed characters. And one thing I remember specifically saying about that movie is the characters in that movie, I'm sorry, but were terrible people. Just the worst people. And most time in horror movies, your final girls, you want to find people you attach to that you want to pull for them. You want them to pull through and you want them to survive and you want to see them victorious at the end. There's not a single character in that movie that I want to see everybody dead. Yours, Miko, I don't want to say Mako, I know it's Miko, was probably the least offensive, really. At some point in my time, she was not that much of a terrible person, but my God, can we talk about that for just a second? What was your take on these characters in that movie? Because that was one of the worst collection of characters. I'm not going to say actors or people because everybody's different, but character-wise, just ran the gauntlet.
I was super young, so I didn't really even understand my character. I didn't even understand the dialogue. I didn't know what I was saying. So if you don't relate to what I was saying, that's because I didn't know what I was saying. I was just
you were the least problem. I'm sorry, you were the least of it.
I was just saying words, and I was just trying to make my character entertaining, doing all this movement.
Yes.
And the freaking hair, I swear I felt like it was gonna take my scalp apart.
I want to talk about that hair after we finish this train of thought. We're coming back to that hair.
Yeah, so I had no idea what I was saying because I was technically an adult, but I had just got out of high school. And like I said, I had just played tennis. I was maybe kind of more of a sheltered kid. I just played tennis and stayed home. So I didn't have too much life experience. I didn't have too many boyfriends. So I had no idea what I was saying. And it's like adults writing words for unmature brain for me at that time. So I was just I don't know.
That's funny that you say that, because talking about how you're just out of high school kind of show, you're not knowing what you're saying, because that's the script and dialogue of that movie is so vulgar and so sexualized that it might have been a blessing in disguise that you didn't really know what you were saying, because you're talking about blowjobs and sex nonstop, and every other word is an F-bomb from every character in that movie. It's just crazy.
I know, and I literally, that was in my I didn't know too much about that. I was just because I was just an athlete person, and so I was like, well, I'll just say this. I really just trusted the directors that I worked with. I was like, I just want to make it good for them, because I know you see how much energy, how much effort they're trying, and you just really trust them. So you just really want to do a good character for them. But you guys asked how they killed me, or what they used, right, for the body?
Yeah, because you get Miko gets an overhead smash with a giant anvil hammer and just gets obliterated. So there's got to be a point where you're in a cut, and then they bring in the dummy or whatever. But so what was it feel like? How did they explain your death scene process in Sweatshop for us?
Okay, so it was super hot in a warehouse, and it was terrible. But the killer, Jeremy Summerall, him and I became pretty good friends. That was his first scary film. And then he got super into the genre and stuff. And I just thought it was so cool. So I would see him at conventions and everything. And he's just such a nice guy. I had to ask him. I was like, what did we use again? But it was a bunch of different body parts, he said, from different dummy parts. And they used the same dummy to kill multiple people. So they just put that wig head hair on the person. and then kind of used it like that. So it was just like a dummy body made up of different parts and used like multiple
Frankenstein
times.
dummy, then basically a Frankenstein dummy filled with, I guess, fake blood and goo, and put your hair on top.
Yeah.
That poor dummy just got the shit smashed out of it then.
Yeah, I bet they like threw it away after that or something.
But okay, we brought up the Miko hair now twice, and that's my next one, because what was it like? Because for those of you who haven't seen the movie, and some of you I'm sure listening have, but the hair that you wear in that movie is insane. Like, it is, I don't know how to describe it. It's big, it's long, it's like dreadlocks, but it's also like plastic tubing in it or something. I don't know what's going on. But what was it like having to wear that for hours on end filming? And then how long did it take you to get in and out of it every day before and after shooting? Like, what was that process like?
Well, okay. So I was, super new into acting at this time. So the first like 2 days I sat in the hair, because they're like, it's very hard to get on and off and everything. And I was like, I understand, like, I'm here for the role, I want to do my best, so I'll like sit in the hair and stuff. And like the third day I was like, no, fuck this. We're putting it on only when I have the part, and then you're taking it right off, and I don't give a shit. It hurts too much. I don't want to lose any of my hair, and like I shouldn't have to act like
damn right. I'm Julin, bitch.
Right? I was like, this is my first role, but I have some standards, okay? Like, yeah, but it was definitely like the super lowest budget. Not the lowest budget thing that I've worked on, because I did a student film before that and it never came out. But it was a really low budget. Like, we had pizza on set and stuff. And like after that, I would be like, I do not eat pizza on set. Like, I can't, because you get exhausted. I mean,
you just want to take a nap after eating 3 or 4 slices of pizza.
I know, it's the worst. And like, I have people that are like, oh, since I produce now, like, oh, what if we just do pizza? I'm like, no. Salads and sandwiches. Like,
that's funny.
Yeah, but it was fun still. Like, Jeremy's the only one that I talked to from that film set though. So
yeah, he's a good killer. He's a big, scary.
He's a really big, large, imposing guy. Mm-hmm. But maybe you can answer this question for us, because I remember looking back at the episode, especially it came back to me rewatching the movie. Was it ever explained in the script or on set? And I know your character didn't have much anything to do with it. But what was the story, or who the hell were these? Was the killer, like the ghoul girl, like the harem he had wandering around this warehouse? I was so confused by this watching the movie. Like, they were never explained. We don't know
they
where
were like vampire girls,
and they kept multiplying. Like, at first it's like there's 1 or 2, and then there's like 4 or something. It's like, where did these things come from, and why are they there? Was that ever explained, or like, do you know anything about that?
So this is how the movie was pitched to me.
Okay.
I was like, do you know those like raver kids? Like, aren't they just so annoying? Like, don't you just want to kill them all? That's Sweatshop.
Okay.
Okay. Like, yeah, with the ghoul, this is just, it's just a scary movie. So these are just like, bad spirits in the warehouse kind of thing. So makes sense.
If it was spirits in the warehouse, that's like a whole other story. That makes sense. But then we were so confused. Like, we had the big killer who's killing all things, but then you have these ghouls. Like, are the ghouls like his henchwomen, or are they not related? Like, we were so confused by what was going on with those. I was like,
again, I didn't even read the script. I just read my lines. When I watched the movie, I was like, oh, that's what happens. Like, oh, that's how my part fits in. Like, I was like way too busy. Like, I was in college. I was in a band. I was trying to be an actress. I didn't have time to read.
That was released 2009, right? And that's also the same year you did Spirit Camp. So
yes.
You had a pretty busy year.
Yeah, well, there was, I think, filmed 2006 or something.
I was gonna say, yeah. So the filming didn't overlap. It was filmed earlier and then released later, so there wasn't an overlapping of the two at the time. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because 2011 is also pretty busy for you too. You got a lot of things that were happening there.
Yeah, that's when you got really busy. Your 2010, 2011 year, because you had, well, even though it was a negative experience for you, but Bogey Creek came out, The Final Puncture, which is the one with Captain America in it, which is pretty awesome. You were in a movie with Captain America, by the way. Killers, Cool Girls from Outer Space, Cherry Bomb, Hyphen, Mardi Gras, Spring Break, and Austin High all came out in that year to 2 year span. That's a lot of work for one person. It's like, that had to be physically draining and mentally draining. So like, how are you able to keep up with all those different projects and be in a band and singing and who knows in college or what else you're doing at that time? How was that time period for you, just getting through all those different projects?
Honestly, like I had a blast. So I had that acting teacher I told you, Bentley Metcham. He said, you know, if you're going to be in the acting world, in the roles, you need to have fun while you are experiencing this. So like, you know, when they flew me to New Orleans, like they were holding a sign and I booked the job with Denise and it wasn't even planned. Like we showed up at the audition, the state, like she went first and then I went second and they're like, you know what, these two girls like look like they're like sisters. I was like, oh my God, so awesome. So we both got to go to New Orleans and we were on like per diem, you know, a legit set. Like it was awesome. And we filmed like 2 days or something and it was easy. Of course you always get like a little nervous, you know, right before they roll the cameras and stuff, especially because you're new. But I every job I had, I really enjoyed it and I made the most of it. And like, you know, I hung out with like the cast after. We would, you know, I wouldn't be like one of those people like, okay, I'm literally, I got a job in Dallas and they put me at the Ritz-Carlton, which is somewhere I would go with my girlfriend, Tisha, because she's like Miss Thing in Dallas. And I met her doing a movie called The Unseen. I should send you guys that because it is the unseen scary movie, like literally never came out. And it's called The Unseen. So I have a copy
that's
somewhere.
great.
Yeah, we'd love to do that. If you send a copy, we'll do it. We'll do like maybe a bonus episode or some Patreon content. Yeah, we'd watch it for sure.
Okay, yeah. So that's how I met Tisha. So I got cast in a TV show. I got cast in two, like seriously, I got cast in 2 shows on Fox. One was Lone Star, and then one was with Colin Hanks, right? And the one with Colin Hanks, I would have had a recurring role. Now the studios said we just want her in the Lone Star role. She can't be in both. I was like, well, I get 2 big roles and like I can't do both. Like what? You know, finally I got the acting, the audition, like everything. And the Lone Star only showed 2 episodes. I was in episode 4.
No.
Literally, so I went to Dallas, you know, and I was like, hey, Tisha, I'm staying at the Ritz. Like, come, like, let's hang out, you know. So we go out and we have like lemon drop martinis and shots of tequila, like everything. And like, I am driving to set and I am like not feeling good and whatever. I was like, makeup, please. And I do my scene and I have to throw, play beer pong, right? And I'm like, ooh, I got this because I'm an athlete. Boom, I get the beer pong and I'm celebrating. I'm just having fun on set, you know, because it is about having fun and enjoying your job. Because the more you enjoy when you're in front of the camera, the better people are going to enjoy watching you.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like you seem to like a person who likes to stay busy and likes to stay active and keep going. So it's kind of cool that you're able to handle all that.
Yeah, and I think from tennis, like I said, I would play like 3 to 6 hours a day. I really had a bunch of energy, so I could, you know, sleep 2 hours and then I'll be up again.
Nice.
But and also I was younger, a lot younger back then.
That helps.
So.
That helps. Age is a bitch.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on into we'll move on to some spirit camp stuff because one of the questions I was going to ask you, you've actually touched on a lot lately, and we'll go into a little more detail on it coming up. But so when we first did spirit camp years ago, we actually reached out to Nikki, Roxy Van Diver, we were able to reach out to she was going to do an interview with us, but things
fell through.
It fell through. Yeah. But in our communication, she did manage to tell us a few things about being on set. So maybe you can verify this or elaborate on that. First of all, she told us that the lake that you guys were at, that she said I don't remember her swimming it, the character, but she said the character, but Megan, I think, and she had to swim through it. Really did have alligators in it at the time, which seems really risky and dangerous, and like really kind of a lawsuit waiting to happen for making an actor swim in a lake with alligators. One, how did the crew and like them ensure everybody's safety from these alligators that were supposedly in this lake that you guys were swimming in or filming around? Was that a problem?
So when we were filming that scene, it was very cold outside. And I remember Megan, she was like cold, and we watched her take and stuff. And she said, you know, she didn't like the goosebumps on her and stuff. She's like, looks like I'm cold. I don't know if you guys saw that. But so I was staying inside the cabin at that time because it's too cold for me. And I'm exhausted. And so Carrie went out and he set up all the lights with John and everything. They did a look around. They did not see any alligators. The people at the parks, they said, you know, you can see the alligators. They're very large. It's not like they're small little alligators. Like in Port O'Connor here, we have small little alligators. Mm-hmm. And an alligator was actually in my parents' pool one morning. And my dad was swimming with it. He didn't know because he was swimming before the sun came up. So, but it didn't bug him. But it was pretty funny. But so they looked around and everything. And then she swam literally like 5 feet out and 5 feet back. So she didn't swim across the lake or anything. But in Boggy Creek, I had to get in the lake with the alligators in the swamp and stuff. And I asked them, I said, you know, what about leeches? What about, you know, snakes? What about whatever? And they put boards down on the bottom. So they put a board, so I never had to touch the dirt. And then there's a guy behind the tree with a machete.
There's your security. A guy behind the tree with a machete, just the case.
So that's how they
That's
keep you
hilarious.
safe. They got some joker behind a tree with a machete.
Yeah.
I mean, if an alligator jumps out and grabs you, it's like, don't worry.
I got a machete here. That will take care of the alligator.
That sounds horrible.
I think he was the guy like with the like special effects team too.
Oh my
like,
God!
I don't think
he's not even a professional.
Like
it's just a Joe Schmo. They can here take this machete and stand on that tree.
No, and it's illegal to kill like alligators and stuff. You know?
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's Boggy Creek.
Oh my God! All right, so okay. So speaking of those alligators, so she swam the lake. Roxy did say that you and her, the two of you, would feed them by throwing bologna at them from the balcony you guys were staying in or something like that. So you would feed the alligators bologna. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a different lake.
Oh, different lake?
So the lake that Megan swam in is a lake that many people swim in. Like, you know, it has lifeguards and the lifeguard stuff and like whatever.
Okay, that I was not clear on. She didn't explain that part.
So there's another cabin, there's another lake, and that's where we saw alligators, and we would throw stuff and feed them, which is also probably you're not supposed to do. But I was young, I didn't know at the time. Okay, forgive me. But my parents, you know, growing up in Texas, my parents have property and it's untamed, so I'm very, you know, used to like animals and wildlife and stuff. And so I was just so all for it, you know, being camping and stuff. So I was like, yeah, let's feed the alligators, you know.
Feed the alligators. All right, let's chum the waters a bit more. But luckily you weren't. There's a different lake, so that's great.
I don't have to swim. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not swimming. What do I care? Here's some more bologna. Here you go.
Don't piss me off, Megan.
Walk around bologna in your pocket just in case. And get that in there. But then Roxy also said that you guys had did have a real problem with raccoons on the set, though, and that during filming they would eat peppermints. You would feed them peppermints from your hand, but they would also steal food and like the flavored fake blood or stuff like that. So yeah, raccoons are an issue there, supposedly. Is that?
Yeah, because I never fed them peppermints or anything, but Roxy had a lot of scenes, you know, that I wasn't in. So she was working a lot on the movie, you know, being offset and stuff. But I do remember, so it was a big national park or whatever, and so the supplies and food stuff would be here, and then they would be filming like, you know, 10-20 feet over there, and it would be at night, and nobody would be by the ice chest and everything. So I guess they got in there and took the stuff, and like they came back and they're like, what the hell, you know? But I only kind of saw that like one time. Most of my scenes were inside, except you know, with the car scene, but that was literally right outside the cabin, so I didn't have to go too far in the woods. I think maybe like once or something when we're talking about, and I'm like, oh, the guy went that way or something. But yeah, I mean, it was fun, but it was definitely just some wildlife, you know.
One thing, a couple of things that just came to mind, because I think you mentioned it too. I know Roxy mentioned to us that on her off days, even when she wasn't filming, she was doing a lot of behind the camera work as well on these independent. That's very common in independent movies. Were you doing that as well? And when you weren't filming, were you doing behind the camera stuff, or you were like, I'm Julin, bitch, I'll be in my trailer? Is that?
Yeah, I pretty much had that attitude. Yeah, I don't know if I had the best attitude, you know, on set, but I was just like, you know what, I'm here working my butt off, and if you're not going to put the same energy as me, like, get out of my face, kind of thing. And when I was on Cherry Bomb, they didn't have a first AD, so like I became the first AD because I would get so exhausted, you know, like I don't want to be filming like 14 hours every day. So I was like, hey, come on, like get moving, like everybody needs to come back, like I'm ready to go, you know. I'm Cherry Bomb, so get back to set. You know?
I'm the star.
Like, no more fucking around. And then like Denise will come by and bring me cupcakes. So I was like, okay, everybody take 30 minutes. I'm gonna sit down and eat cupcakes with my friend, you know. So I need a break, you know. And then they would be, you know, they're like, oh, well, we're waiting on makeup and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you know, like this is my face on camera, like I have to feel comfortable, like don't rush me, bro, you know.
Don't rush. Okay.
But, yeah, but behind the scenes work, moving lights and stuff, no, I never did that. I do that now, but yeah,
not then. All right. Now just on, you know, I don't know how method you are with your acting, but you know, a lot of people, you know, did you go to a cheerleading boot camp to prepare for your role as Rachel, Rachel the cheerleader?
I would not be able to handle any cheerleaders like at all. Like, cheerleaders at my school were the worst. They were the worst of the worst. Like, in our football team never won. So like you suck as a cheerleader. So
yeah, I had that feeling in high school. Our football team, I think, won 4 games in the 4 years I was there.
Ours zero games. So I was like, you know what? I could cheerleader the shit out of you, and I've never cheerleaded before ever. So that was my idea of a cheerleader. I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna make this cheerleader up however I want. But I never had to do any cheers.
Yeah, you didn't actually have to do any real cheerleading. We loved your role, Rachel. Especially as it got further into the movie and we saw more of her. And you're seeing that a lot of times that was your first real acting job, first real movie, and honestly, I wouldn't have guessed that, because a lot of stuff you were doing made me laugh, at least, like some like seeing the character progress through the whole movie, and just there were some really great Rachel moments, and that leads me.
Good.
There were, which kind of leads me to, and we touched on this very briefly earlier, but Rachel became one of my favorite characters. I want to talk about 2 things. So try to keep with me here. We touched on the base that we feel that Rachel got screwed over when it came to her destiny, which you already talked about briefly, just the stab, because she was such a major character in that movie. She's practically the second lead, but your destiny is basically just a blinking or miss the stab. And we feel like, how did you feel about that at the time? I know you were new, but looking back at you, we feel that Rachel should have gotten a better, more elaborate death scene. How do you feel about that? Like,
because being in horror movies, I mean, the death scenes are kind of like
that's the thing. That's what people are watching for. Yeah.
That's the big reveal. That's the big pop that everyone wants, is like a great, cool death scene as a viewer. You know, you want to see a cool death or unique death or something gory or something special. And to have your character, which was fun and great, just to kind of done.
Yeah. It was disappointing.
Well, what if I told you this? What if I told you that Rachel never died and she made it out of the building before it blew up? That was my take. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna die. Like, I don't want to die. Like,
I think we actually talked about that.
I liked that idea. I wish it would show that if Rachel would have actually survived and clawed her way out, because we talked about that death scene and how crazy just the fact that the killer survives after getting blown up by a box of fucking dynamite in his face and how unreal that was. But still, I like the idea if Rachel makes it out, is out there somewhere. But
I think we even talked about it a little
what
bit.
If she like, what if she like has a missing arm, you know, and she's like a cheerleader coach now?
Yeah,
you know? She's like, I gave my all. I even gave my arm. Like, for you bitches. So if you
give her like an eye patch and a scar. Yeah,
it could be. See,
so well, that kind of leads to my next follow-up question. Like, if it was up to you, if you could have scripted it, if you could redo Rachel's death, how would you like to have seen Rachel go out? If she had to die, what would you like to have seen her happen to her?
I would like her to like, you know, have like 10 times, like, you know, fighting, like go out with a fight, you know, like first, like she loses her toes, but she's still fighting. And then like she gets like chopped in the face, but she's still fighting, you know, like something like that, where she like gets knocked down, but then like she comes back up and like swings the axe at him or something, you know, throws a snake at him or something, like just some kind of ridiculous, like, swing from a tree, like drowned him, like some kind of
take that bologna out of your pocket and turn an alligator on him, you know, like just throw, there you go.
Exactly, because she's like crazy character, like she would do some crazy shit, you know. She had like the knife, you know, like she could like do something like that. But I mean, he totally should have like he should just redo it. Like, I mean, redo it now. Like, and then like
Air Camp version 2.0 or something like that. Yeah.
Like, okay, well, we decided, you know, like she needs another death scene or something. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I thought Rachel got kind of screwed over on that one. So I'm going to combine these next two questions into one. So again, follow along with me here. And you've touched on it briefly, but maybe you can elaborate more or tell us some more stories. But when I watched Spirit Camp, you really get, at least I got the sense that the girls, the core of that movie, all the girls, that you guys really did get along on set. You had a great chemistry working together, like Roxy, Megan, Katie, Amy, Alyssa, all got along really well. So elaborate more on that. And then you've talked about Denise Williams, Denise, but that being Denise Williamson several times. And she's only in Spirit Camp for a short time. And all of her scenes are never with any of the other core. It's just kind of her by herself, and then she's done. But then you've gone on to work with her many, many times afterwards, including projects like Bogey Creek. You're both on Friday Night Lights, but maybe different episodes. Killer Schoolgirls from Outer Space, Cherry Bomb, Hyphen, Macabre Theater, Mardi Gras, Spring Break. It goes on and on. So you guys must have also become really good friends, as you say about it. So kind of tell us how that bond between the girls on Spirit Camp kind of evolved and what that process was like, and just how much fun you guys were having, because it really came across in the filming, I think. Sorry, that's a little drawn out.
Yeah, no, we did have like a really good time because we were all new actresses, you know, in Texas. I think most of us were from Houston. So myself, Alyssa, Megan, Roxy, we were like, and Katie, she was from Dallas. And so we were just so excited to be on set, to be in a movie. Like I said, that was like my first movie, and I tried for so long just to get an acting role that was like a movie that would actually come out, you know. So we were just so full of energy and excitement, and we thought it was so cool that we were cheerleaders, and then, you know, it's like a scary movie and we get to be funny and goofy, and we just had a blast. Like I didn't know how to act too much, but I like tried my best. And, you know, I probably made a lot of mistakes, you know, because I, you know, I was just trying, like over trying, but I really wanted to like just have fun with it and just try, you know. And so, and then being together in the cabin, you know, we were like, we stayed the night together, you know, we had each had like bunk beds and stuff. So it was really, really a good experience.
Nice.
And the director, I don't remember where he stayed, but it was far away. And then when he brought Denise on, uh Denise was like the new girl. So I was like, who is this girl? And then he was like, oh, I wanted one extra kill or something. And I don't know if I could say this or whatever, but they were like dating or something. And I was like, why? Like what's going on here? Like you're so you're dating this guy and that's how he got you in the movie? Like what? I was like, I don't know about this, you know. And I was like, well, what do you do? And she's like, well, I never acted before, you know. she's like, I'm a dance major. I just graduated from South Houston, whatever college or whatever. And I was like, oh, do you want to get into acting or what? She's like, yeah, I think so. And I was like, well, I'll help you. You know, so I kind of helped her get an agent. I helped her with the audition, you know, technique that I told you guys about. I helped her like introduce her to the scene. So once I had her with my agency, we had both an audition in Austin, and it's a 3-hour drive. And this is typical in Texas. You have to drive to the audition. I mean, it sucks because you don't get paid. You have to spend your own money, your own day, like just
Right.
go audition and pray you get it. So I took her, we went to Austin, and then we just like got to talking and we just became friends. And then we would go for spirit camp. We would go to these conventions together. So that's like another weekend together. We hang out together, like, and then we did like a Facebook show. So this is before like anything, but we had like 2,000 views from I don't know who, and people would type like email us and say like, I love you guys show on Facebook. And I was like, what? That's so awesome. And we're like, this is the Julin and Denise show. Da, 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 da. It was like so retarded. So that's why I was like, oh, I know I can't say that word retarded, but it was so
That's
fun.
funny when you say that because we have an ongoing, Aaron and I have an ongoing thing between us with that. He gets on my case because I have a bad habit of saying that all the time, like, oh, that's just retarded. Because I'm not meaning anything by it, but he's like, dude, you gotta stop saying retarded so much on the show. I'm like, I'm trying. And then dude, I'm like, we're both just kind of like, like I say, I'm not the only one. We have a running gag going on. So thank you. Thank you for saying I'm not showing that I'm not the only one who lets that slip and not meaning it the way it, you know, it's.
Yes, yeah. I don't mean it that way. It was so goofy. I'll just say it like that. It's so goofy. But we had just such a good time. And then we made up that thing like, hey, you know, if I'm in a movie, I'm going to get you in the movie so we can have like this weird drinking game, like when we're older. And like, so anything we would like always like try to get in together. But now we want to do a project. I was thinking, I don't know if you guys are fans of Danny McBride.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we know. Yeah.
Have you seen his movie, The Fistfoot Way?
Yes.
Okay, so I was saying Denise, because she's like a dance teacher. I was like, you know how he was a karate teacher? I was like, we should do a movie like that, but like you're a dance teacher and like you smoke a bunch of cigarettes and like yell at like little dancing kids and stuff, and like your personal life goes to shit. And she's actually a really good actress. She went to act with Charlize Theron, Jack Black, and she had her movies come out in theaters. She's a really good actress. I kind of branched off and did other things, but she's still acting and stuff, which I think is really awesome. And yeah, and I read that you guys hate was it Blair Witch? No, y'all heard
Paranormal Activity. Yeah. I don't know. Where did you hear yeah, I did it. Yeah, we did an interview with another podcast and or a show, and I went off on my round how much I don't like the Paranormal Activity franchise.
Yeah, I don't like Paranormal Activity, but I was talking about Blair Witch, so I don't know. Is that similar? But so
no, it's pretty close.
She was in the Blair Witch second one or whatever it was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she's in that because that is on our list of movies to get to. The Blair Witch 2, the like shadow book or whatever it's called. It's that might be on our show coming up. I
was like, well, whatever. But she actually got like poison ivy from that shoot and stuff. But I'm super happy for her, and like we're super close friends, and she's great. So we kind of did our own thing or caused trouble at all these conventions and just have a blast.
Nice.
One last thing I want to ask about Spirit Camp before we move on. And this goes back to Rachel again, how some of the great scenes and moments she's had. One of the best Rachel moments in that movie is where I'm just gonna call it the interrogation scene, where you and Roxy have knocked down, tied up the supposed killer, and Rachel just kind of goes off on this crazy, almost psychotic tangent, and it's a great scene. What do you remember about that? And just tell us filming that scene and where your mindset was in making that one happen, come to life.
Well, this is still again the American Psycho thriller type actress, I always wanted to play. So I was like, yes, I get to be this like crazy person, and the knife was real, probably, not whatever. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be so close to, really fuck with you as much as I can, like as much acting skills as I can. I just really tried to like do my best and like tease the person and all this. But the knife was real. And so the director kept stopping me. And he kept freaking out. I was like, I am not going to split his throat right now. Like, what are you talking about? If he doesn't move, he's good. Right? Like, I guess, all you have to do
it's his fault if I slice his throat. It's his fault. He moved, right?
Yeah,
I'm
he
fine.
ran into my knife. Yeah. But, I was careful, but I guess I could have thought, oh, you know what, if he like sneezes, I didn't think about that at the time. I was just like, hey, I'm just gonna be this crazy psycho, I was like,
that is a really good scene. And I think that's something that we talked about when we watched the movie, when we talked about it on our podcast, was that would have been such a fun way to flip the script. And you have the killer there tied up, and then all of a sudden the people who were hunted so much now become like the predators, now become the hunter. And I think I think there's something there maybe for a future film or something of cheerleader types getting chased through the woods.
Spirit Camp 2, man. Rachel comes back with Roxy, and they're so traumatized by experience. They become the killers. One-armed Rachel is hacking her way through with one arm.
So they get a chance to catch the killer, but then turn it back on him, and then you almost start to sympathize with the killer after he's being tortured by the cheerleaders.
I would stuff a pom-pom in his mouth too,
Perfect.
That would have been perfect.
Shove shaving cream on his nose so he can't breathe,
All right, so moving on from Spirit Camp, let's talk about Knucklebones now. Spoilers. You said that you actually hadn't seen you saw a rough cut of it. You haven't seen the final released version of it.
Mitch. I haven't seen it.
So spoilers for Julin and anybody else who's listening who hasn't seen Knucklebones yet. But we love the ending of the movie, the way that your character Nessa at the end seems to basically take control of Knucklebones and kind of becomes like his keeper, if you will, and unleashes him on her former best friend Samantha. And so again, this is why I wanted to see a sequel, because like just see you and Knucklebones go on some crazy adventures or something like that. We're taking out people, it'd be awesome. But so in real life, like, is there somebody you could, is there anybody you wish you could unleash Knucklebones on? If you had control, who would you release?
I will just not say names, but I'll say the Dallas producer who is just a terrible, terrible person.
Who may or may not be released to a Bogey Creek, maybe? I don't know.
Not that one.
Oh, not that one. It's an even worse one. Okay.
It's just like ego trips in the community and terrible lies, and it's
Why do
definitely
producers always seem to be the
Me
worst
Too
people?
stuff.
Like, why is it always producers that are the sleaze balls? You know, like, I don't, is there something that goes on with producers that always seem to get the bad rap and that there's,
It's the ego thing.
It's the
Really?
money. Yeah, it's the fine.
Yeah.
you would think it'd be like
Financing
the
it.
director or something like that, but it's always like the producer that's the jackass. But
The directors are usually nice and cool. Like Knucklebones director Mitch, he's so cool and nice, and he reads some of my scripts, and he says, "Oh, Julin, you're just such a good writer and stuff," and it's just so nice of him to say that. And we actually wrote some stuff together, and I'm actually producing his short film for like the Scottish Film Festival or something.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. But yeah, there's some people in the industry I would release the Knucklebones thing onto.
Nice.
Sure.
So, all right, quick question, and then we'll go into some stories about Knucklebones you can tell us. But who do you think would win in a fight, Knucklebones or Beast from Sweatshop?
The Beast, come on, you know, with the hammer, and then he's got his little goth people or whatever, like.
See, I'm sorry, that's the wrong answer. The correct answer is Knucklebones.
Why? What?
No, I'm playing. That's great. No, I love that you went that way. No, I go Knucklebones because I don't know. He's supernatural. He's a demon. Guy in Sweatshop's just a guy, as far as we know. But he does. I did not take into account his army, his harem of ghoul vampire.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah.
I did not take that into account. So he's got numbers on Knuckles. But so
I have to tell y'all about one of the scenes in Knucklebones.
Yes, this is what I want to talk about. Let's talk Knucklebones here.
Well, the cool thing is the director, he saw me in the final, and so he said, you know, that girl, and he was talking about me, and he said she can have any part that she wants in Knucklebones. He's like, you could play whatever part you want. And I was like, well, bro, I only want the lead role.
Right.
You know, come on.
I'm Julin. Like, yeah, I'm Julin. Come on.
Hello. Yeah. One name, you know.
Yeah, one name.
So, so he was like, okay, you could, you know, have the lead role. I was like, yeah. And then I got paid the highest on set. It was so nice. Highest out of all the crew, everybody. I was like, yes. So I really, you know, put my best effort. You know, I was maybe better acting in that role than Spirit Camp. I don't know. I hope. But when I had to cut my arm or something, I think that was the first time that like I would scream like in a movie, kind of, you know. I was like, oh my God, this just reminds me of that guy in Saw when he has to saw off his arm.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, everybody on set was like, ooh, I can't wait for that scene. I can't wait to see you do that scene and stuff. I was like, no, you people, y'all, it's a closed set.
Did you demand a closed set for your screaming scene?
I'm shy. I told you guys, like, I was like, I never screamed like on camera before and stuff, and I really wanted to do a good job. I didn't want, you know, distractions and to worry about people watching me. And so I was just like, no. I told Mitch, I was like, Mitch, I want a closed set. I don't want a bunch of people on there, and like I'm nervous and stuff. And he was understandable, and so everybody was like excited about it for like 2 weeks, and I was like, nope, bye. You can watch it later, you know.
Do you feel like you could do that now that you've gotten to acting, kind of, you know, you've done a lot of acting? Do you think now, you know, if people are hyped about a particular scene, would you still want it to be more intimate, more private as a closed set, or would you be more willing to be like, fine, that's cool, I don't care who watches because I'm Julin. I'm Julin,
bitch.
I would probably still do a closed set because I'm still like,
I'm Julin.
I'm still kind of shy, and like I just wouldn't want, you know, if somebody's cell phone goes off to be, you know.
So you feel you get your best work out of just more of a private, more of an intimate setting.
Gotta focus. Right. Yeah. Just so I could focus and you know, only have to do one take, you know. So
right.
I was acting with this Oscar-winning actor guy, for this film called Houston. It went to South by Southwest, and
Nice.
so this is like I was like, oh my God, I have to act with this like super amazing actor, and I have like one line, I was like, or two or something, you know. I was like, I don't want to mess it up, and I just took a breath and I did it, and he's like, oh, you did great. And I was like, okay, good. You know, like, like I got it in the first take. I was like, good, you know, I don't want to mess up. But I'm, you know, I don't know. Acting, it's still like a little nerve wracking, and you want to
Sure.
do a good job. And I haven't actually done it for a while, so.
Now, Sweatshop and Knucklebones both basically primarily take place in a giant abandoned warehouse, factory, or whatever. And being that you say Houston is such a small, but they weren't the same places, were they? It wasn't shot in the same warehouse, factory, were they?
No,
Okay.
Sweatshop was some weird, really terrible warehouse. It was like not nice. It was like gross. I didn't like it at all. And there was like a couple different ones. And Knucklebones was actually better produced. It was in a haunted house, you know,
Oh,
those
okay.
haunted
Yeah.
houses that people pay and then they
Yeah.
go see all the things. So I was like, that it was so fun because
We never would have guessed that. I thought it was a
Yeah.
legit just they found an old
Factory.
factory warehouse somewhere and just rented it out. That's crazy.
Mm-mm.
Did not know that.
it was a professional
Well, then give kudos
haunted
to the
house.
people who own that because they made it look really. It did not look like that at all. So
Yeah.
good for
Yeah,
them.
we had like a hair and makeup room. We had a place for lunch. Like it was a huge place. So when we had downtime, we would go run around the place
Cool.
and take pictures, and like it was fun. So we had a good time.
What was like?
Nice.
So what was your like? You said Spirit Camp was such a good experience filming with the girls and all that, and you bonded with the cast really well. Did you have a similar experience with Knucklebones? Was it like obviously it's not gonna be no set's gonna be the exact same, but how is Knucklebones in comparison? Like just bonding with because again it's a very girl heavy cast and you're all together a lot. So
It was different. It was different on that one. The two girls, Katie and I forgot the other girl's name. They had their special bond, and I feel like I had a better bond with the crew people, and the director. And I felt like a little like jealous tension, which was weird to me because I was like the lead character, and I was just like, I was like, I'm too old. I don't have time for this, you know.
Mhm.
And I was very nice to them and everything. And then Katie, she actually gave me a Starbucks drink, and then I got strep throat from her, and it was like really, really bad.
Was she trying to take
but-
you out? Was this like some? I want to take her. Maybe I'll get the lead. Is this some kind of competitive jealousy going on?
No,
I'm sure it's
it
not.
was totally not. But I actually helped Katie get the role in the
Oh.
film.
Oh,
Yeah,
because this is before
I
filming.
had coached her, and then they asked me like, "What do you think about her?" I was like, "I think she's great and stuff." And I really tried to coach both of them on set with some lines and stuff. So I don't know what it was, but the director said he felt that way too. Like that they were just kind of they were their own thing, and then I was with the crew. So I was like,
Okay.
I
that's okay, not the
like,
same, but.
It's funny you said that you said you were kind of coaching Katie because I'm pretty sure we said on the podcast we kind of liked again this was one of the casts we really enjoyed as a whole and both Katie and you again did really good work in that movie. So I guess obviously some of that comes back to your coaching ability then so is this like a new career maybe you're looking about maybe going to like acting coaching if you seem to be doing this for pretty successfully so far.
Well, I like to help women kind of achieve their dreams. If they want to work in entertainment, I like to help them get there and just kind of know the industry and how to be successful in it. That's what I do with my company is mentorship. And so I'll teach screenwriting, producing, directing. We offer free classes in our Facebook group.
Yes.
So it's just very community driven, female led, female driven. we just like to encourage more female perspectives in the entertainment industry. But I don't only want like female indie films. I want female huge success stories and big films, because there is, like you said, the producer like dynamic thing with the ego tripping. Like, I just don't like that. And I feel you can have a very awesome creative environment. And we work with men too. So just everybody being nice and creative and just, putting out some exciting stuff. Yeah. So I do have an announcement. I am making my first feature film with FoxForce. It's called Vikki's Vacation.
Yes.
And it is a psychological thriller. It is a little bit like American Psycho, but it's with a teenage girl. So
Nice.
That's great. And that's perfect segue, because like that, my next line of question is, let's talk about about FoxForce. Because like, for those of people who don't know, Julin is kind of the mastermind and founder of FoxForce, which is an entertainment production company, and we'll get more into that as we go. But so what I'm guessing what you just said is your desire to see women succeed more and give more opportunities. Was that what made you want to launch FoxForce and decide to take on such a large and daunting project of starting a brand new production company from the ground up?
Well, this is the thing. I feel like it was from all of my scary films that I was in, right? So I saw how these low budget films were made, right? And I just thought, I can do better than that. I can do it better. So that's where I got the idea. That's when I started writing scripts, learning how to write scripts. That's the first step, right? Is you have to learn how to write a script really well, and then you can produce it. Because I saw, Kyle Day, who's never done a movie before, and he got to produce and make Cherry Bomb. I saw, the Sweatshop people make Sweatshop, and I was like, I can do that, I can do that, and I can do it better because I'm competitive, Yes. So I actually started the idea of FoxForce when I moved to LA with my first script in my hand. And I said, I don't only want to just sell a movie. I want to make it. I want to distribute it. I want to have the rights to it. I want to be successful. I don't want to be another struggling writer or something. Like, I actually want to put my stuff out, get it made, and like show people. And then that's the producing bug came in. But FoxForce was called Fig Jam. Do you guys know what Fig Jam is? It's an acronym in Australia.
Oh, in Australia? No.
I gotta say, I don't know Fig Jam.
No, I don't think I do. Part of me thinks I've heard it, but now I'm thinking probably the old Toe Jam and Earl video game on a Sega Genesis.
I'm thinking of Vegemite, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, but no, this is gonna be new to me.
Fig Jam means fuck, I'm good, just ask me.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's the attitude of FoxForce.
Nice.
I am curious about the name FoxForce. Is that inspired from Pulp Fiction? Because the character Uma Thurman plays, Mia Wallace, was in a pilot called FoxForce 5. And if it's inspired from that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so when I watched Pulp Fiction, I was like 15 years old. I was at my sister's house, and she had that movie, Pulp Fiction. I put it in, and I was like, holy shit, this movie is cool. I had never seen a movie like that before, and I loved it. And I didn't know the writer-director. I didn't care about any of that, but I really loved the vibe, and I just wanted to make cool stuff like that. And like I said, FoxForce was Fig Jam before. The thing is, I like MTV, the old school MTV, before all the reality shows. So I was like, why not like a FTV? What is that, a man TV? Like, what about a female TV? Like, come on, And I was like, I really want an F, word. And I was like, well, what could be cool, like a F, I was like, Fig Jam. And then I was like, I just don't like it, And then literally it was like 3 or 4 a.m. I'm in Hermosa Beach, chilling. I'll just say that, with the ocean waves. And I was like, FoxForce, that's the name. And like literally like 4 a.m. I like searched and I was like, oh my God, it's not taken. I was like, that's my name. Like, I'm going to go buy the website or something right now, and like literally had the website and everything for 5 or 6 years before I started like turning it into a business.
That's a good grab.
Yeah, that's long-term thinking there. So the kind of, so you 4 or 5 years before you even got, you went on and got FoxForce, the domain or the name, you got that reserved. So then what else did it take for you to get FoxForce from in here, from your thoughts, from your mind, to actually get it up and started? And like, what was that process like? That had to have been like, I mean, it's a production company. I can't imagine what all goes into getting that up and running off the ground to make it a reality. So what did talk about that?
It was a big idea. It was basically like, hey, I want to make stuff and I want to get it released. Like, I want to have like a channel, like HBO. Like, I love HBO. So I want to have like my own channel, my own distribution. I was like, how can I do this? And like, everybody's online now. So I was like, I need a website, So I hired this girl. I was like, hey, can you make me a website? And she's like, yes. But I asked her, like, this is the most complicated website ever. And she's like, I'll charge you $400. I was like, great. I could pay 400, only or something. And she's like, actually, I cannot do the website. It is way too much. And I was like, okay, no problem. And so then I went and I bought a camera. I was like, I have to start, filming my own stuff, right? I have to film it myself, and I had gotten a job, Entertainment Scoop. So I was producing and directing like 8 shows a week on a online like web series type show.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, I did all the mistakes. Like, I took a whole crew and cast on top of a helicopter pad on top of the skyscraper. Wow. I was like, you know how dangerous that is? Like, dangerous. Like, yeah. we didn't film there, thank God. But I was like, oh my God. But I had the great ideas, like, I'll show you guys like all the intros that I did. They're all like awesome. And then Denise, I made a rock and roll web series because, I like music. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make it about these crazy musicians and just put the whole web series together. I had $500. So we did that in LA and like people loved it. I had press email me, when's the web series coming out? I was like,
nice.
Well, if you had money to produce this, that'd be great, because I didn't realize that this is actually gonna cost a lot of money, because that's how it is. So I was just learning about all that stuff, but I had just the enthusiasm to do it. Then I got a Entertainment Scoop company, went whatever, because the owner just whatever. So I got another job producing for kids shows. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So I did like princess rap battles, and I have 150 million views on my songs and my creations. Like, I put Beauty and the Beast in outer space, and
nice.
like made a ridiculous like song rap battle stuff. I was just trying everything. I was like, this is the internet. Don't you want to log on and see some crazy stuff?
Right.
And so that's what I did. And then I got more into serious TV writing. So I taught myself how to write TV scripts, which is a different process than film scripts. And then I met Chris, who's my partner, and he's a cinematographer. So he helped me understand professional sets, professional lenses, equipment, and I'm competitive. So I was like, yeah, I want to be the best. Like, I want to make the best, most exciting. Like, I want my films on the big billboards in all the theaters. Like, I want to do the best. So, I mean, we're going to do our film. It is a lower budget, but I think it'll be really cool, just from what I've learned, acting on all these lower budget films, and then how I like to run production and what I've learned doing web production. And people really love my style. So I did the web series called Heart to Beat, and you'll see Denise if you see it. But we did like a 1-day shoot in Houston, and that was my first time kind of really directing. And my cousin, John Hale, he's a cinematographer, so he helped me out, and we made it really cool. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I don't know, I'm just passionate about entertainment.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great. So one thing when I've done some research on FoxForce, I went to your website, and I read a lot of articles and print release that been done on FoxForce. It seems like you guys do a lot of things with FoxForce, and besides just production, like, and you've even mentioned this earlier in the today. You also offer classes like script/screenwriting, filmmaking basics, and all this stuff. So, like, whose idea was it to actually, besides just produce stuff, but also offer classes to help educate, other people to get involved in this? And then who teaches those classes? Who do you have involved working with you on those projects?
Well, it's all community based, so we're just community. I started just teaching classes because, again, I just want to help females succeed in the industry, because it was so hard for me when I started. I wish somebody would have maybe mentored me, maybe like said, maybe this script isn't like that great or something,
right,
or don't waste your time with this kind of thing. But I didn't get that, and it is whatever. And somebody like stole all my pictures, from my personal pictures from Facebook, and blasted them everywhere. Maybe don't put your personal pictures online, kind of thing. Like, so I was like, you know what? I wish, growing up in Texas, like, I wish there was somebody that would have told me, hey, you can write scripts and stuff, and this is kind of how you do it. I didn't know like I could write a script until I was like 25 or so. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you don't see other women writing scripts and stuff, or how it's done, you kind of just like don't know. So I just want to show females, hey, you can do it. You can do what you want to do. Plus, I feel like there's not enough action or comedy with females, or scary films made by females too. So it was my idea for the classes, and then with the community, it's volunteer teachers. I try to make sure the volunteer teachers have good credits. Like my friend Vikki, she was in Glow. She's a huge TV actress, so she helped give the acting class. My partner Chris, he's a great cinematographer. He'll give a class on cinematography. I'll help teach screenwriting, because that's kind of the subject I know the best. But we try to answer everybody's questions about the class, and we just want to offer free classes and everything for anybody that wants to learn. And like, hey, we all learn together,
That's great.
from each other.
I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's you said is it open to everybody though? So like, you're obviously it's geared, and definitely a platform for women to get their opportunities and to learn and grow. But it's also open to, I guess, to anybody, right? To men, women, anybody who wants to learn or maybe, grow in this field, or these different aspects of the field as a whole.
It's definitely open to anybody, but we gear it towards females, so they feel, because I know females have maybe a tendency to be more shy, or maybe they're not so interested if it's all dudes like on YouTube teaching filmmaking. It seems like it, it's like 20 filmmakers are all dudes. But like, if you listen to a woman, this is how a woman or a female does it, maybe that will help you a little bit. Also talking to clients and stuff, it's different. You have to, maybe, my experience, answer a lot more questions. It's like for like 5 years, it felt like I had to keep proving myself, and it's like, I'm done proving myself. Like, I'm sorry if 150 million views on YouTube is not good for you. I don't know what is, but I made that with passion only. Like, I wrote the songs, I recorded the songs, I mixed the songs. I can make my own beats. It was my ideas. I did the costumes. I edited. I directed. I helped cast. Like, if that doesn't prove enough for you, like, I don't know what to do. And I literally applied to like 300 production companies asking for a job. And, I was like, I'm done asking. I will just create my own stuff now.
That's
a great attitude to have towards
absolutely great, and a wonderful message to send to like the younger generation, like, who are, like I said, who who've tried everything, and it's like, you know what, just do it yourself. And you're a great example of that. And honestly, kind of an inspiration to especially younger women who want to get into the industry and do that. So, I mean, bravo. I mean, that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I know I think that's also important, kind of what you touched on, talking about having, you know, just seeing females in those roles, in a screenwriter role, in a producer role. You know, I have a baby girl who just, you know, so, and I want her to see, you know, ladies can do anything, of course. If you have females who do XYZ that are typical male roles.
Yeah, and have actual female role models that aren't just like, you know, the pinup, you know, counter, you know, models, or, you know, this is all I can expect, you know, I can legitimately do this and create it myself. And yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful, I guess, we'll say platform that you are launching this from and doing this. And it's really very inspiring. It inspires me. And so I think it's great. But here's a tidbit. Speaking of women writing, directing horror and doing it themselves, I don't know if you know this, but one of the all-time classic 80s horror movies that is just a cult classic today, the original Slumber Party Massacre, was actually written and directed by a woman. And one thing we know is that I don't know if a lot of people pick up, but it's very unique in that movie, is that in that movie, she takes very stereotypical men roles and flips them into females. Like in the movie, there's a female handyman. And so the handyman is a handy woman. The woman that is a coach who's talking about, you know, it's the woman who's talking about, did you see the game last night? Oh, I got my team. She's coaching the softball team. And so all the ones that are typically men dominated, she flips them turns them into female roles instead. So she flips up on its head. And so that was back in the 80s. So, and obviously, you know, very ahead of its time, but a very early pioneer in doing that I don't know how many people know that, but I think it's a great thing to look to for, you know, maybe inspiration, or it's like where this, you know, roots and where this all starts or goes back that far.
And they also had the boyfriends in that movie, like on the sidelines when when the girls are playing basketball, they're like, go.
Yes.
They're being more of the cheerleader type.
Yes.
And like you said, they flipped those roles. So the boyfriends in the movie played the more, you know, stereotypical female roles of the horror movie. They're the ones cheering on the jocks, saying, go Jenny, go
yeah,
Sally,
and the girls are the jocks in that movie. Yeah. So it's very flip the gender roles in that. And it's, so again, why even one, if you didn't know that or haven't seen, definitely should check it out for that reason, to appreciate for that fact.
I definitely will check it out.
So let's talk about modern day times now. With FoxForce, with everything going on, the pandemic is going to be very difficult. So the pandemic is giving the world basically two raised middle fingers, saying, fuck you, world, I'm doing my thing. And it's made all film production pretty much grind to a halt, you know, especially the larger productions with very large cast and crews, and even down to the small production companies like FoxForce. But I know, especially since I've seen press writers, but you have finding innovative ways to work around this pandemic to continue to create and produce and to get your creative thoughts out there. So can you elaborate, and while maintaining the safety first of everybody? So can you talk about how you've managed to continue to produce and go about your creation during these crazy pandemic-induced times?
Yeah, so it is a little bit of a story. So when I decided to launch FoxForce full-time, was in December. And then late January, I went to the emergency room. Yeah. So, and it was literally 5 days before like our kind of launch party, right? FoxForce launch party official. And they said, you have 99% you have cancer.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus.
God damn.
Yeah. So I was like, crap, you know, I'm about to launch my company. Like, I don't have time for this, you know, like, my gosh, I've been waiting my whole life, it seems like, to launch FoxForce. And now you're telling me I can't because I have cancer. So I was like, crap, you know, I was like, I even went to Sundance that year, like, because I was like, we had like our business cards and everything. So, so I had to do, it was like a year of like surgeries. I had to do 2 open abdominal surgeries, which is like a scary movie in itself.
Sure.
Like one of my surgeries, I went and this like Russian dude, he couldn't, it was an epidural. I don't know if that's right, but
Yeah,
he
epidural.
stick it in your spine and stuff, and he missed it and stuff, and he had like this Russian accent. I was like, oh my God. And anyway, so after I got out of surgery, literally I was telling the whole staff, like I was high as hell. And I have a company, FoxForce, and we're gonna make movies and stuff. And they're like, yeah, sure, you know. I was like, check out this music video, like, isn't it cool, you know? And so I was in Austin, Texas, with my family, and they called, or I got the email, and they said, you know, you're the 1%, you don't have cancer.
That's
Nice.
great.
Oh yes, I'm the 1%, so I can always say that joke now. And so I had to recover. I really had to take time to recover. You know, your stomach, operating twice, like, and you know, I'm an athlete, so I've been trying to get back in shape and stuff since then. But literally, when I'm ready to go, the pandemic starts. Like I'm healthy again. I'm ready. I'm full of energy, and then they're like, oh no, pandemic. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care if there's a pandemic. I am going to do FoxForce. I'm going to do it full force. And you know what? We have time now. So let's do a film. Let's do a film. So we, you know, I was like, since I have so many scary movie fans and everybody who I haven't reached out to, I want to reach out to them, and I want to make them the best freaking movie that I can make. So that's when I started coming up with an idea, and I called it Vikki's Vacation. We're gonna start it with a crowdfunding campaign. I'm gonna teach, you know, some of our perks are gonna be how to make a scary film, how to write a scary film, how to do a low budget film. We have special merchandise that's only available for our crowdfunding campaign. We have a designer, Layla. She's designing like the poster and the t-shirt and everything. So we're going to have really cool perks on that, and it's going to be
Nice.
a crowdfunding thing.
Well, you get that information. I would definitely love to contribute to that, because I would love to help you guys out and
Yeah, we'll post it.
that.
We'll, you know, let our listeners know. Yeah.
So you keep us
Oh,
up,
that
and
would
we
be-
will do that for sure. And I'd love to get you know, help, you know, maybe I'll donate some stuff to, you know, donate to the crowdfunding as well. So just let us know when that happens, and we'll
would
make
be
that happen.
awesome. Yeah. So we so it's me and my partner Chris, and we started FoxForce again full time. And so we just started reaching out, and this company, it's called Alova Talks. They reached back out to me, and they just said, "Hey, can you do our commercial now?" You know. So I was like, "Oh, okay." You know, yes, I can do it. Let's do it. So I have to film cows and stuff in Texas. Because we came to Texas because
Go Longhorns.
because I'm high risk. I said I was already quarantining last year. I do not want to quarantine again. So we came to a very small town in Texas just to like help get away and not get, you know, any infection. I do not want to spend any more time in the hospital. I want to stay safe and just be smart. And so on our set, the way we do it is Chris, the cinematographer, he will set up the lights. Maybe we'll have one grip guy, and then we have just myself and then the actress or actor, and we have them do their own makeup. We did a book trailer, and we only had 10 people on set at a time. We had everybody spaced out, wearing masks, hand sanitizing. We had face shields if you want. We took the courses to be, you know, certified for the pandemic. But because we're able to do so much and be creative with a skeleton crew, and because we started out small with FoxForce, like when we did the War Twins music video, it was just me and Chris.
I was going to be my next. I wanted to talk about that next. So, but continue on with your. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the way that we did it, because I'm a producer, and since I did so many like web series, like production, I know how to do it like low budget, be nimble. And so I found a castle, crazy, in Pasadena area, California. It had all the props in this castle. I was like, oh my God, like it already has set design. It's the castle. And the thing you have to, I mean, we did a shoot a day before. We actually, all the black like studio looking stuff, that was actually in our living room. So we made it look like a, you know, just a black area studio, just close-ups of the face. And we intercut it with that. And we did like the Alfred Hitchcock, like spinning head. But I really wanted like an Alfred Hitchcock type of music video vibe. And I said, hey guys, like, and this is again me telling people, I was like, please just trust me, like trust me to direct and just follow. I'll make it like super badass for this budget that you have. They did want like a bigger budget and they had a bigger idea, but I said, hey, for the budget that you do have, you have to like get creative with the idea. So it's just really about being very creative with what you've got. And with the costumes and stuff, from working at my Totally TV job, I learned, you know, you could buy costumes online pretty cheap. Like the sequence dress was like $10 and it looks awesome, you know, and just always like accessories help with music videos and stuff. So I studied a bunch of music videos just to try to like help, you know, make it really cool. But yeah, it was just me and Chris. That's 2-people crew, you know. So I definitely carry lights and sandbags and cords and stuff on those.
So your days of I'm Julin bitch on Spare Camp and I'm not doing any background work to now, it's changed now. Now you're doing getting your fingers dirty a bit more.
Yeah, but for the right reasons.
Yes, of course. Couple of things now that one, the War Twins video that I've seen that one seems to be getting a lot of press. I've noticed like it's getting a lot of rave reviews, a lot of good reviews about this. I personally have not heard of them. I don't know, but I've only heard them through the press ratings that you get. But there's been a lot of write-ups about this. So apparently, you know, which is great. I mean, it's critically acclaimed. It's very, very highly regarded. So congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thanks. Well, the thing is, let me tell you, they have been a band for 10 years. They've played all over the U.S., like in all the live music. They were literally like living in a van. And their producer produced like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So Sylvia Massey, she produced their record. And that is also, so they got a lot of press because they have been around so long and they're super talented. But the fact that it was so nice of James, he said like, oh, FoxForce, Julin, she had such a great vision and everything. Cause I was studying like Fellini, Alfred Hitchcock, you know, I just wanted to make it like this creepy, like music video. She's like, I'm your nurse. But I was like, let's put it like in the 60s, you know, World War I style. You know, I really go into depth and research like the creative, how I can get like the most creative stuff. I like, you know, I try to do as much pre-production, planning, creative stuff as I can. And then when we get to set, like we just get more creative and just have fun, you know, and just really have to like hyper focus and just like, I don't know, just try to make it the best you can. And I just love it. So I think people can tell that I just love making media, and that's why they respond.
I mean, I can tell. I mean, your passion for this is really coming out. And I mean, for people who aren't going to watch a video of this, but so you might not even see it in your face, but I mean, just hearing it in your word, I mean, the passion you have is obvious. It's oozing out of you. I mean, that's wonderful to see such, you know, to have somebody that passionate and working on this stuff. A few more quick questions. You mentioned Chris, your partner on this. And then before we start recording, is Chris is this the Chris you're married to, or is this a different Chris? Just curious.
Chris, I'm married to.
So, okay. So, all right. So there we go. So is that Chris?
Wait, but I do have to say, when I met Chris, boyfriend Chris, I did not know he was a cinematographer for a whole year.
Wow.
Nice.
A year. A year. Didn't go by. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. This is how it is in LA. These people that you date, you know, they have like a business card. This is who they are. This is what they do. And, you know, you like it or not. And I said, I don't care what you do. You know, can you make me laugh? Are you a nice person? This is all I care about, you know, because I had some bad relationships, you know, so I was like, can you make me laugh? And are you a nice person? you know, do we like the same things kind of thing. And I was passionate about like screenwriting and producing, but I'm not trying to use my partner for, I don't know, that is a separate thing. Now, when he told me he was a cinematographer, and he had worked with like Wanda Skykes and all these super famous people and done these huge things, I'm like, wait, what? What? I was like, okay, hold on, I have another idea. I was like, can you help me with FoxForce, because this is a thing that I've been trying to do. And he's like, I told you not to buy that camera. I bought this camera.
Like, I already had that. I told you not to buy it, but yeah.
Yeah, and it was like a Canon whatever, and he's like, that's the worst camera. It'll make everything look bad. I literally never used the camera.
Oh,
no offense to Canon out there. We Canon, if you want to sponsor the show, love Canon, but no, I'm just like.
It was the wrong Canon.
So you're talking about making clients but working with budgets of what you got. Let's talk about that. So potential clients, like if they want to reach out to you, and what's that process like? If some, like, let's say us, like say, hey, we call up FoxForce and say, hey, we wanted, like you did, you just said you did a trailer for a book. You did a book trailer. Let's say, so we want to do it. We come to you and say, we want to make a trailer for our podcast. Let's take us through the FoxForce process of saying, when we first contact you with the idea to all the way through the process of making, like talking about budgets and how the film, what's this entail? How is it working with FoxForce work?
Well, I would say you made the right choice, first of all.
Good start.
You made the right choice. You see our quality of work. We only do high quality. But I've been in everybody's shoes, and I could work with any budget. So I would send you a customer intake form, and you would tell me your visions, your ideas, your goal, who's your target audience, you know, what you want your video message to say. And I help you make the best video possible. And the question that I have to ask is, what's your budget?
Yes, you know, that's my next one. Like, do you have a limit? Like, is there like, hey, my budget's only so much, and like, oh, well, that's too low for us. Like, is there a cutoff for? Because I know it's a thing, it's a real thing in the world. But so how is that? I mean, it's a sensitive subject. So how's that play into things? How do you handle that?
Well, you have to have a budget for if you come to me and you see, I want, you know, Tom Cruise to jump out of a helicopter holding my podcast sign. I say, well, what's your budget? Well, let's talk about reality versus your budget, you know. But if you say, like, you know, I only have like a couple $100, I'm like, okay, you know what? I can coach you on how to light yourself, you know, maybe how to speak into camera. I can give you like a really good day of coaching. But there are, I do have to pay my crew scale.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So any other potential podcast listeners out there, or people who want to think, you know, listen up. This is for you.
Hey, you know what? Stock footage.
There you go. Stock footage.
Stock footage. So
but it's so great that you're even willing to, even if you can't necessarily film it for them or do it, but you're like, but that's great of you to say, hey, I will at least coach you through what you need to do for that budget. It's not just, sorry, we can't work with you.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. That's something that you don't see. Like, I don't think you see a whole lot of people like, well, you don't have the money to work for us. Sorry, good luck. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. But you're like, no, let me help you here. Here's what you could do. And that, I think, is what will separate you from so many other companies, and whether it be advertising, marketing, or production. It's just like you take the time to help people, and that's great.
Yeah, help people. Or because I am an entrepreneur myself. So when we did our FoxForce videos, we did 1 day of production. We did have a lot of volunteers because we have a lot of friends. So we asked people, what are your resources? What are you able to bring to the table? Do you want to maybe spend, you know, extra $800 on a good lens, you know, make it look really good. You know, I did it myself. Like, I dipped into my savings to make FoxForce videos. Like, I spent like $3,000, you know, on my videos. And that's a lot of money for me, you know, because I wasn't bringing in any money at the time. but I believed in myself. So do you believe in yourself? Do you want high quality, that high quality look? We can give it to you, but we have to talk realistically about the budget. You can be good and fast, or you could be like good and cheap, but you're not going to be fast. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like, you can, if you want to be good and fast, which we recommend, it does take money because you need crew, because to make things look good, you have to have lighting, and to have lighting, it's going to be like 6 things everywhere with sandbags. You have to have safety. You have to take your time, you know, stuff like that. So it's yeah, people think like, oh, you just press record, right? Well,
push a little red button on the camera, right? It's all good.
it's a $60,000 camera that we have, you know.
Wow.
So it's not just a small camera. So we compete with the best, and that's why our stuff looks good.
And that's,
but you know, I'll talk to anybody, you know.
and that's a great mindset. You know, you have, we compete with the best, we have the high quality, but we work with everybody. And that's, I think that's a great, I think, business model. That's what will help you connect with people and keep you going. Cause like I said, not people who want to work with you aren't gonna be able to afford the top line, but if you're willing to work with them, at least guide them on what to do, that really says a lot about who you are as a person and as a company. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's why I want to offer some courses online that are affordable, so people can. I have a YouTube thing that I email to everyone for free, and it's like how to do a good YouTube channel, how to make money with YouTube. I wish I had more time to do my own YouTube channel, but I can tell you how to do it.
Well,
so.
I might actually want to check that out, because we need to up our YouTube game ourselves. So we might check that out, and we'll talk about that when we're done recording. We'll talk about that on the side.
Our YouTube channel is fledgling and growing. Let's just say that it's pretty small, pretty nothing, but we're trying.
It's mostly a time factor, but whatever. Let's start because we got a few more things we want to talk about, and but before we move on, let's give you the opportunity to plug, like, tell everybody who might be interested in FoxForce where they can find you, plug your socials, plug your websites, anything you want to get out there. This is the time to go ahead and get all that out of the way. Just knock it out.
Well, you can find us at foxforcemedia.com. We're on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. We have a Pinterest. We write blogs.
You have a Pinterest. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Pinterest. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're all over the internet. If you just Google FoxForce, we'll pop up. FoxForce is one word.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are going to have Vikki's Vacation. It's a psychological thriller. I'm writing and directing it. We have an actress. She's amazing, from South Africa. She's going to be the lead. And it's kind of like an American Psycho for a teenage girl. Kind of like The In Crowd, if you've ever seen that. We do have some special celebrity guests that are my friends that are going to help me out and be in the film.
Is Denise going to be in this? Is Denise in this?
Well,
maybe.
I'm like, I could definitely
keep an eye out.
find a role for her. But we're going to be filming that half on an island and then half in Texas. So it'll be a really cool production.
Cool.
Also, we'll be on Seed and Spark, and that's where we're going to start our crowdfunding.
I was about to ask about that. Where can people find the crowdfunding for this?
Yeah, it'll be on Seed and Spark, and I'm going to be teaching how to write a scary film, how to make a low-budget scary film, anything scary film related. Let me know also what merchandise, you guys want, or what digital gifts you want, like shout outs. I don't know. I'll sing birthdays to people. I don't care. That we want it to be a community driven project, and we want the whole community involved, and we want to make it the best, most badass. Like, we want to win all the festivals. So really want it to be about everybody. And so anybody's, please join us on FoxForce. You could sign up to be a member on foxforcemedia.com. That means you're in our newsletter. We have networking events. I don't know if you guys saw our first networking event. We have musicians. We have, you could talk to us, ask us anything about filmmaking. We try to answer everything. but we're just super down to earth filmmakers, creatives, and we love talking to people.
Nice.
When you say now let's verify. Like when you say be a member, because now is this a free membership here for people to know?
Free membership. Yeah,
there we go.
Free membership, and like you get our newsletter. We're gonna send out our YouTube. How to do YouTube. We give some free classes and everything.
Awesome, that's great.
Yeah.
So I think that's really. Let's wrap this up. But like I said, I told you for our emails before we go, we had a few surprises for you. So and I know at one point you said you had some questions for us, so we might get to. We'll get to that. But let me.
I'll have one question.
Okay, one question.
Did you guys put me on the Hall of Fame after we talked about the podcast?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because that was my surprise that you kind of I guess knew about it. I guess you did your own research. But yes, you were inducted into our Horrible Horror Hall of Fame. But you were inducted as part of our 2019 class. So this was done way before we talked about getting you on the show for the interview. So yes, congratulations, you're in our Hall of Fame. And
I won.
Yeah, and as part of that surprise, you are actually getting our first actual our first actual plaque, our Horrible Horror Hall of Fame plaque with your name on it, symbolizing your entry into our Hall of Fame for all your contributions to the horror industry, whether good or bad. You have entered the Horrible Horror Hall of Fame. And with that, we are also sending you a copy, your very own Horrible Horror T-shirt, the last of our ladies fitted tees. We will send those to you to proudly display in your office, because being in our Hall of Fame is such an accolade, such an honor to proudly display to all your coworkers and potential clients.
I will gladly die horrible deaths anytime.
So you kind of ruined the surprise, but awesome. You did your research. So yes, but no, you were in the Hall of Fame way before we ever contacted you or wanted to, try to get you on the show.
But that's even cooler. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. Well, thank you guys so much. I had a blast talking to you guys and talking to you for the past couple months about this interview. And thank you for supporting FoxForce and Vikki's Vacation.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Let's make a video for your podcast.
Let's talk about that. 100%. We're gonna wrap up the interview, but I know Aaron's gotta get going. I would love to have a few questions I'd like to talk to you if you have time for after we get done with recording. But for now, all right, listeners, Moon Goons, I hope you enjoy this. Hope you enjoyed the interview. We had a blast recording this. So again, thank you very, very much to Julin for taking the time out for doing this. This was an amazing experience and just a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Make sure you check her out. Check out her follow her on all the social medias. Check out her movies if you haven't already. And it's just been a blast. She's a wonderful person. And follow her and support Vikki's Vacation. Go to the crowdfunding and get on the ground floor of that and help support some art and creativity and be part of something new and special. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoy the show. And remember, watch more horror movies and always keep it tight.